Well, hello and welcome to the stream. Let's go ahead and see what we can get into. We're going to do a little bit of this RFL, and we're going to do a little bit of this open lines. I'm going to start off this Paranoid People line that premiered on 7/9 of 1996. Enjoy the stream. Welcome to Arville, Somewhere in Time. I featuring Coast to Coast Hangout on July 9th, 1996. From the high desert in the great American Southwest side, did you all think you could bring across all these many time zones from the beach and the Hawaiian Island chain? Eastward to the battered Caribbean, the U.S. Virgin Islands, south into South America, north to the whole and worldwide on the internet. This is Coast to Coast AM, and I did you all. Good evening and good morning. It's going to be open line all night long, right? Shoot that tape, you hit the record, go. Let me give you a little bit of hurricane information. Somebody called yesterday and wanted to know where we were on satellite. And so grab a crystal, and I'm going to tell you where the on satellite first they are located. You can always catch us on satellite F1, transponder 5, 5.8 wideband audio. That's satellite F1, transponder 5, 5.8 wideband audio. Or WWTN in Nashville also has a satellite transponder, so you guys show just about in its entirety. You can catch us on their transponder, which is G5, transponder 18, 7.35 megahertz wideband. So either one of those locations, let me give that again. G5, transponder 18, 7.35 wideband audio. So both of those satellite locations on C-band are a good place to catch us. All right, Bertha, Big Bertha, after ravaging parts of the Caribbean, is now beginning to lose a little bit of strength. It went from a category 3 to a 2 down to 105 miles an hour from 115. But we are not out of danger. It could still come ashore somewhere around the North Carolina-Virginia border. We'll have to wait and see. They're saying it's going to pull north. It may go north. It may not. Just a very tiny movement one way or the other could cause it to hit land or not, and we are keeping a careful watch on it. Defense Secretary Perry and other top military people in trouble blasted in a Senate committee yesterday for the bombing that killed 19 Americans. I still want to know why Secretary Perry wouldn't tell us that the Saudis had said no to increasing the security barrier. I'd like to know about that, wouldn't you? Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu used his first visit to Washington. It was on CNN, the president on the right, Netanyahu on the left. Actually, when you think about it, it should have been the other way around, huh? At any rate, said he's prepared to enter peace talks with the Syrian president. But his first priority is stopping the terrorism, and I can't blame him for that. The Senate has passed a bill to increase the minimum wage to $5.15 an hour from $4.25. The bill passed by bipartisan 74-24 vote after a month-long fight. So it looks like it's going to happen. Looks like we're going to raise the minimum wage. And as long as we don't lose, salaries have been going up, average salaries, and as long as we don't lose jobs over a wage hike, it'll be all right. The problem with a minimum wage hike is when you begin to lose jobs, then you know you've gone too far. And we'll grab you. It's about Bob Dole, and it says, Dole won't pursue weapons ban. Republican presidential contender Bob Dole has dropped his bid to repeal a ban on assault weapons, saying many of the weapons are readily available anyhow. Dole had promised the NRA in March of '95 that he'd work for the repeal of a ban on 17 assault weapons. But he's backed off now. He's backed off. He said of the 17 that were specifically outlawed, 11 are already back on the market. After his Virginia speech, Dole headed for Philly to attend the Major League All-Star game, which preempted the newscast on NBC. Baseball. It looks as though Lamb is going to go for it, a candidate who is campaigning on a no BS agenda. A no BS agenda is hoping to secure the presidential nomination of Ross Perot's Reform Party. Former Democratic Governor Richard Lamb announced his candidacy Tuesday, saying he wants to clean up politics, cut the nation's debt, blah, blah, blah. Didn't promise any miracles, and that's good, because there won't be any. And the only way he's going to get the Reform Party nod is if Ross Perot gives him the nod. The drug czar is calling for 1,500 additional federal officers to stamp out what he calls the cancer of drug trafficking along the 2,000-mile U.S.-Mexican border. A cancer on the border, he calls it. Wonder if they're going to be able to do that. Well, anything to tighten up the border, I'm in favor of. Glenn Belli has died. One of America's best-known attorneys died of pneumonia Tuesday at the age of 88. Very flamboyant attorney. So, goodbye, Melvin. Here's a fax from somebody, actually from, let's see, who was it? Chris, Mandy, Eleanor, and Tutu. We find Dick Lamb as a refreshing alternative to the predictable and insipid Lamb's description, which we feel is that Democratic and Republican nominees for the presidency. Insipid. How do you feel about Dick's chances in the fall? Not very good. Also, he mentioned today on CNN that the Reform Party will conduct its nomination at least partially through email voting. I'm sorry to be laughing, but thinking back to the Vote Fraud show, and if ever there was an opportunity for fraud, it would be with email voting. Oh my. I wonder how they plan to keep that one on the straight and narrow. I just can't believe they will. Bad idea. Hi, Art. I listen to your show whenever I'm unable to sleep. Having been born, and I get a lot of people that way, having been born and raised in Saskatchewan, I was interested in your caller. Said the province was twice the size of Texas. Ha! It was a bad winter. I think the poor caller's brain froze up. The area of Texas is 267,339 square miles. The area of Saskatchewan, 251,700. Maybe he's got his miles in kilometers mixed up. Anyway, Texas is still safe. Always been curious about your statement that Canadians pronounce the word out as oot. You must have been talking, oh no, they do. No, they do. I could get Canadians, this is Marion in Alberta. Believe me, I could get Canadians on the line here, and they owe me every time, just about. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure it sounds great in the middle of the night, but you know, you don't have to be nocturnal to enjoy this amazing show. The Ghost Insider is your key to a normal life. For 15 days a day, you can wake up refreshed, knowing that last night's show is waiting for you with podcast. You can only on the way home. Or listen to one of Oprah's government archive shows from the past 6 years. access to our monthly live chat sessions. First of all, I want to thank you for bringing everyone out here to Pharmacopoeia. It's just phenomenal. I don't know if anyone else I remember listening to the radio on that. Yes, Bill, Marlene, and she was a fan. But, I was listening and really have any hope for future right radio. I think we do. I think eventually so many people will see the light, see what you see what I see, that eventually they will say enough is enough. And I think that we do have a future, and we're going to win in the long run. It's going to be bumpy along the way. Not that we use it, but we're going to look that's one thing. And you know what? As long as I can continue on the airwaves and tell people this, I shall. A new version of the Coast to Coast AM app is here, now available for Android as well as iPhone. For Coast Insiders, it offers the ability to download the new app also has listen live and streaming features, plus recaps, contacts, and upcoming show info. Coast Insiders with Android System 4.0 and above or iPhone. Check out our new app at Google Play or App Store, or listen from our Coast website. You're listening to Mark Bell, somewhere in time. Tonight featuring Tokyo AM from July 9th, 1996. We got a story here that says simply, wiretapping rises sharply under Clinton. And the fact of the matter is, they have about doubled the number of federal wiretaps under the Clinton administration, and it is going faster and faster and faster. And so I am more than convinced, and I really can't tell you how, that my phone is tapped, Linda Howe's phone is tapped, Dan's phone is tapped. And so what? So what? iHeart saw ID4 this weekend, and I just can't imagine that anything would make me wait to see it. He's referring to me, I have not seen it yet. He says, take the night off. It's worth it. Even if your listeners gripe, it's worth it. Even if you get fired, it's worth it. I had to stand in line in the Phoenix Sun for 45 minutes to get tickets. It was worth it. The tickets were for 2 showings later. And then I had to stand in line again to get in. It was worth it. Even the protesters couldn't stop it. Turned out to be a bunch of grays protesting that the movie portrayed aliens in a negative way. Am I going again? Yes. And yes. Will I buy the video? No. On a small screen, it wouldn't be worth it. Well, he's right. And I've got to drive 120 miles and have a day off to go see it. Now, yeah, I'm sure it's a good movie, but to make all of you angry because I'm gone for a night, I don't know if that's worth it. To lose my job, certainly that's not worth it. Just supposing the DIA were to contact, this is interesting, just supposing the DIA were to contact you and tell you, unless you neutralize your art part of the story, your wife, ex-wife, son, mother, whatever, would be history. Or that one of them were in their custody at this moment. What would you do? Would you go on the air and tell us all? Would you change your story regarding the outcome of the testing? Would you never mention them again? Since callers would be asking about them, you know what I feel? Either have to neutralize the reports or take real circumstances. What would you do? That's what I appreciate. It is an interesting question, and the answer to it is simple. Assuming that our government was rotten enough to kidnap some family member of mine, well, I'd probably shut my mouth. That's a pretty easy call. Otherwise, I would and will, if they walked in, I'd tell you they did it. I'd shove a mic in their face. I don't know what I'd do. I'm pretty angry as it is at this wiretap business. So I've been talking to him lately on the phone. I had a long talk with Linda earlier today about the danger now involved in this, and she made a very, very good point, and she said, look, Art, I've been doing this all my life. This is probably the most important story I've ever been on. Here's the way I look at it. This is America. I'm a science journalist, and I'm going to do what I do. And that answers it for me as well. If our lives are in danger because of what we're doing, then we've kind of lost America anyway, haven't we? And that's something to think about, isn't it? If they're willing to come after you or take your life over something like this, it's really not the country that we sit here and extol the virtues of on talk radio and everywhere else, is it? The Bill of Rights, the Constitution, they're hardly worth the paper they're printed on if citizens are not safe. With regard to free speech, movement, all the things they promise us, privacy, if all of those things are unreal, then the document is not real. It doesn't mean anything. So that's her attitude, I'm glad to say, and mine. I thought I would bring you one Bigfoot story. Here, Art, is my Bigfoot story, all of which is true. I'm a regular guy, 4 years at the University of Michigan, with a regular computer network administrator type job in downtown Portland. I live 20 minutes outside the small village of Beaver Creek, Oregon, about an hour from Portland, bordering the Cascade Mountain Range. My 10 acres borders on 15,000 acres of BLM land, borders on the Giant Mountain National Forest and the Salmon Huckleberry Wilderness area. Last year, I drove in 20 miles of a glorified goat trail called Abbott Road east of Escada to the border of the Salmon Huckleberry Wilderness area. I never heard of any of this. From there, being wilderness area, it was on foot only. I was bow hunting for deer at the time. Wanted to be in an area that I was sure no one else would be hunting. For the first 4 miles, I was on a marked trail, easy to follow. Since I was in an area that few people visited, even during dry weather, the trail soon became non-existent. I got out my compass, my topo map, and drove on. The wilderness area is basically one big old growth northwestern style rainforest. Dry trees, moss, ferns, little brush. I could see for a good 75 yards. It was raining, and since I was bow hunting, I was camo clad and walking stealth-like in the hopes of getting a deer. So I wasn't paying attention and basically got lost. The topo map was useless since I couldn't see any landmarks. A bunch of big trees. I made camp under my stretched out army poncho and tried to start a fire. I got a smoldering piece of, he uses a 4-letter word here, fire going, and fell asleep for about an hour. I was startled awake by what I first thought was a guy crouched down, going through my pack, which was about 8 feet away under some plastic next to a tree. Not knowing what really to do, I said hi. Like a startled dog, the guy, that's the quote, all at once glanced at me and ran off. When he looked at me, And I jumped. I was surprised at how large he was. 7 feet tall easily, lanky, covered from head to foot in shaggy brown fur. What was particularly strange was the fact that his head was perhaps a foot wide, and his eyes set wide apart. He was not human. He ran off at an astounding rate, sprinting at first, and about 50 yards, getting into a kind of a trot, taking long leaps, one after another, accelerating to 30 to 35 miles per hour. It ran up the hill, much like a deer would. It startled. Well, I was totally freaked out. When I finally got my blank together, ate half of my food, I jogged until exhausted. I finally found a creek, spent the night next to it, and followed it down to the Salmon River. Ended up at Zigzag, Welch's, wherever that is, where I hitched a ride back to Portland. That's it. It's true. Peter in Beaver Creek, Oregon. Indeed, a reasonable story, one that I would relate to you. So yet another little story. They just keep coming. Open Lines coming up next. This is Premier Networks. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this somewhere in time. What upsets me is that regardless of how one feels on the issue of abortion, tobacco, now gun control, is that now Dole appears no more trustworthy about keeping his promises, and Mr. Christian maybe figures it's flopping works so well for Britain that he might as well try it too. Problem is, though, that since the presidency is the only presidential candidates have any real chance at all of being able to get elected are either the Democrat or the Republican candidate, so neither of them is trustworthy. Who do I vote for? Well, I don't know what to tell you. It's Ron in Berman. Ron, I feel much the same way. Yes, there is a lesser of two evils here, but that we are forced to vote for a lesser of evils. I guess we always are, but it's a particularly nauseating choice this time. Has brought my relative interest in politics down to near zero. I mean, it's just not worth arguing. I can't have a passionate argument with somebody about something I don't feel passionate about. And this year's politics, I think, I really mean that. I mean, there's got to be a million other interesting, fun things to talk about, rather than which is the lesser of the two evils. And it's becoming a more marginal question all the time. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning. Hello, Art. Hello. How you doing? Okay. This is Jim Kansas City. Yes, Jim. I got two things. I got a what if for you. All right, I like what ifs. Okay. In fact, I love what ifs. Really. Okay. So what is yours? The other one is, I got the GMX, and I love that. I got the State of Jeans, 818, and I love that too. But mother called with CMI, I talked to them, and when I decided not to go with that, the guy cussed me out so serious. And who are you talking about? SMI. The guy used language, and, and I said, SMR. SMR? SMR. Is that what you mean? Yeah. Oh. Transmitter station? Oh, well, no. Well, I'm not. Are you talking about the investment company? Yeah. Okay. And I couldn't believe it. And I just told him, well, I'm not interested. And the guy just encouraged me to go in. So I thought I'd let you know. Well, that is terrible and true, and we will check into it. Where are you calling from? Kansas City. Kansas, that's right, Kansas City. Believe me, we'll check it out. That shouldn't happen. If any of the salespeople are doing that, then they're full of it. Well, okay, but now, what if? What if what? What if? I got a what if for you. The only thing I can see that's going on with these flying saucers and Roswell, do you know what date or when the saucers went over the White House? What year that was? No, I don't. That's Roswell, was it? Yes, it was. I think it was in the 50s, actually. Okay, I'm just wondering, what if they had a warning that we took them, took some of their people, aliens, captive, and if the truth be known, that they would retaliate, and that's why the government is not putting that out. Well, you saw what happened in the White House in '94, right? Pardon me? You saw what happened in the White House in '94, right? I haven't seen it yet, but I want to see it. Well, I know, but you've seen the trailers on TV where the White House blows up. Yeah. Well, so you have to be careful, obviously. Well, I wonder if that's the only reason they're keeping it secret. Well, otherwise, why should they? I just wonder if there's a million reasons why they would keep it secret, sir. You know, I wouldn't say that it'd be a good idea to kidnap aliens. Well, but if they threaten and say, if we find out, in Iraq, where they were tying people to targets? Yeah. Well, the first day you see ABC pan across the White House, and you see the little grays tied to the pillars of the White House. Okay. Gotta go, sir. See you, Art. Wild card line. Welcome to care, Alabama. Hi, Mark. Hi. Can I have Chef C the movie Thursday? All right. It's a pretty good movie. It's very derivative of War of the Worlds and the original movie called The Crucible of Final Soldiers. Yes. Well, it's quite derivative of that, but it's still very enjoyable. That's what everybody says, and here's one guy saying I should risk my job and livelihood and everything else, and it doesn't matter, just go see it. Well, I wouldn't risk your job. I mean, well, you're You're not too much. And you probably have some woman psychologist on here telling you about what's wrong with you. I'm the matter of chupacabra. Or chupacabra, yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, teacher. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
All right. Boy, it sounds pretty southern to me. Where are you?
I'm in Macon, Georgia.
Macon, Georgia. That was a good guess then, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you've got a southern belle accent.
Okay. Well, I had a friend send me a tape we interviewed Betty Lou and Ray Fowler.
Oh, yes.
And she turned me on to you, and I've been addicted ever since.
Well, it's a different kind of show, that's for sure.
What was on my mind was, I know a lot of people may not understand, unless it affects them personally, how involvement in UFO subject can affect your religious beliefs.
I suppose it could, yes.
You know, there are quite a few religions that view the aliens as beings.
I know.
Okay, well, I'm a member of a religion that does believe that. And since they found out about me and my involvement, now they think I'm demonized, and they are afraid of me. What do you all call it? So, you know, it hurts. I haven't changed my religious beliefs. I still have my beliefs. I don't see why it has to make a difference in your belief.
Well, because they're not tolerant. They're not tolerant of any divergence of belief. And it's not all Christians. I mean, there are a lot of Christians who loosely can believe that there are others elsewhere that they may be visiting or may have visited without being threatened. And then there are Christians that are not at all tolerant of that kind of thought, and they're all demons. And those little bird people who sit down there making it.
No, don't you feel like they are?
Yeah.
But I feel that, you know, God is the creator, you know, and anything that exists, he created it. And I didn't believe that exist. So he has to create them. I just think that expands, you know, God. I don't understand what the problem is, and I'm having a real hard time with my religion. Unfortunately, I'm no longer active in my religion.
Sorry.
So,
and is that why you are not active?
Yes, because it looks like it, I'm given counsel, I'm given things like that. It's demons, and that's it. There's no way getting around it. You know, and I'm having a real problem with that, and I just thought, you know,
all right, actually, it's an interesting question here. Thank you. You know what I'd like to talk to you? How about a priest or a rabbi or somebody of the church? I wonder if somebody like that would call me. That'd be interesting. Get an official take on it. Now, I know there are many takes on it, but it would be interesting to talk to somebody in the church, an official even of the church, any church, to have a bit of a discussion with us about this. That would be very interesting, I think, very interesting. Western Rockies, you're on the air. Hello. Hello. Going once, going twice. Gone. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi. Oh, hello. All right. Yes, sir. Okay, I'm with the radio down here. I'm sorry. All right. I just had a comment about the chupacabra. Last, I don't know, it's on, I think it's 6 and 11 on the news on a Mexican station here in Los Angeles. It's Telemundo. Yeah, that's the one. Yes. That one too. Okay. Yeah, I know all about it. Telemundo. You can get it on satellite if you've got Dish system or whatever. And there's going to be a big report showing, even if you don't speak Spanish. Right. You're going to show pictures of the thing. And it's really awesome. I'd probably get you with that. All right, thank you. So I'd love to see you later. Take care. Yeah, that is tomorrow night on Telemundo. And even though you don't speak Spanish, you might take a look because there is a lot of photographic documentary evidence. And for those who think chupacabra is nothing more than an imprint on a t-shirt, you might want to go take a look. Western Rockies, you're on the air. Today, the government called me and said, it's actually outside.
Those people can be very frightening. I visited my house when I was a teenager.
What do you mean there?
Government people.
Why?
My stepmother was trying to get duplicates of some medals my father had gotten in service in Vietnam. And apparently some of them were medals that were never recorded for some reason. And
So
I don't know if it was DIA or CIA that came to my house, but they came to my house and they knew me by name when I opened the door.
yeah.
And it was rather frightening. They told her she was trying to get duplicates of it. She had lost.
All right, well, thank you. They're usually all the same. And they all have a certain government on real cool attitude about it. It's part of the job, I guess. So if you've ever had government agents around you, you know what I'm talking about. Spooks. CIA, DIA, military intelligence types, they're all about the same. Secret Service, FBI, they have a particular look, the circle look of the FBI guys. They're about 2 notches cleaner, their hair is a little bit shorter. FBI is pretty easy to spot. You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from July 9th, 1996. Eastern Rockies, you are on the air. Hi, I'm Coach Gary at Green Bay. Yes, Gary. Would you like a breakfast update? Yes, I would. As of 2 a.m. Eastern Time, the Hurricane Bertha was located at latitude 24.5 north and longitude 73.9 and about 150 miles southeast of Brentwood Island. The whole center of Bermuda. Bermuda is moving towards northeast at around 18 miles per hour, and Brentwood's front turn north is expected during the next day or so. From northeast? Yeah. Interesting. So in other words, right now she's going to stay out in the ocean. Pretty much. Drop into the colder water and get weaker. Yeah, that's good. All right. Let you know. Thank you very much. Anybody else with any what ifs? Now, I haven't done that in a while. I do like what ifs. What ifs like that. It's kind of fun to contemplate what people would do under certain circumstances. I still picture these little grays, strapped to the White House. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Good morning, Mr. Bell. How are you? I am fine. Mr. Bell, if I needed to get a hold of you for some important information off the air, how would I be able to do that? Well, we sent many letters to you, and they haven't gotten there. How do you know? They were sent 5 months ago. Well, who's to say how do you know they didn't get here? I just know they didn't. You know they didn't. I know it for a fact. Well, let's not play games. What's it about? If you go to a break or something, look, this is a public program. So if you got something to say to me, say it here on the air. Well, Mr. Bell, I just know a few things about what some people have been trying to do, and I know damn well that there's been contacts made in Pahrump. There's been some contacts made at, for instance, there's a 24-hour gas station out there by you. There's many of them now. And the community hospital down there. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I happen to know some information about that. About what? Well, there's some problems going on down there, Mr. Bell. What kind of problems? Go on, say it on the air. I can't. Why not? Because if I even get caught making this call, I'm in deep trouble. Why? What, somebody sneaking around asking questions about me? Who the hell cares? Well, I have nothing to hide. So, this is it. Either you tell me what it is now, or I move on. All right, what? All right, you're done? Yeah, I gotta go. All right. First time caller line, Merchants of Fear. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi, Mr. Bell. My name is Jeff. I'm calling from Minneapolis, Minnesota. How you doing? I'm doing pretty good. I've been listening to your show for a couple of weeks, and I really respect your opinions about things and stuff. And I have a question for you. Okay. I heard your opinion on homosexual relationships. You did. Well, I didn't really hear your opinion. I just heard like a word from you about that you might not approve of them or something. No, I don't. Oh, you don't approve of them? No? Okay, the reason I was calling is because... But then again, I don't engage in them, so there's a lot of people in this world that are doing things that I don't approve of. Right. All right? My general line when somebody asks me about this is, what two people do in the privacy of their own bedroom is their own damn business. And I'm not about to go barging in. If they keep their hand off mine, it's cool. Which I respect your opinion about that very much. That's a good one to have. But what I was calling to say is with your opinion on extraterrestrial and all that kind of stuff. Same deal. They keep their hand on mine, it's cool. Okay, that's what I was calling. I was kind of going to compare on this, but if you believe in that kind of stuff, which I don't know. I guess I can't put it in the right words, but. Well, look, I take a general, somewhat conservative, somewhat libertarian take on most things there, and which I get from everything you say, like I said, I read that everything you say, I don't know a lot of everything you say. That's all I'm saying earlier. This is America. We have this document, these Bill of Rights, this Constitution. Either it means something or it doesn't. Okay. And I guess I'm on the path of finding out. Okay. Well, I appreciate your time. All right, I appreciate your call. Thank you very much. I love these spooky trends. Our children, something they're around everywhere. They're in the hospital, they're at the gas station. They're moving in on you. Pretty soon they're going to be calling you double wide into the compound. And that Mr. Bell will be the end. We know it's coming. Back in time continues with Mark Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM. More somewhere in time coming Good morning, everybody. Totally open line this morning. It closes home north. Makes you keep going that way, north and the east a little bit. I'll keep it away from us. That would be nice. Not that it's likely to make it to the east coast is in some danger. Should it turn. Not a lot of things otherwise. Bob Dole making a promise to repeal the ban or even try to repeal the ban on assault weapons. So he's getting up on that one too. Land Peace Reform Party tonight. Colorado wants more manpower on the border. Nolan Belli is dead. That sums up the news. All right. Anything you want to talk about is fair game. Absolutely open line tonight. Got some interesting interviews coming up. Here's the issue that I always tell you guys. Eastern Rockies, you're on the air. Hamilton, Northwest. Well, I'll see this. I'll be the place to watch the drama. Where are you, sir? KPRA, yes, sir. Yeah, you are the scaredest, coolest, scaredest person I've ever heard. You opened up the show saying you can care less. And your phone was happening. You said, no, from a personal point of view, I don't give a rat's to I really don't. But, however, there is this thing about our Constitution of Bill of Rights and, the Fourth Amendment, the Fourth Amendment and the First Amendment and the rest of it. So from that point of view, it's important, I think, especially out there. Right. About, the way, I'm not going to abuse, but how Christians are thinking that, why cannot the loving Creator create something somewhere else? Well, we do. And the answer is he could. But the people who worship, I don't think that they are the only ones that were created. But that's kind of an angle I would say. I listen to you a lot. I've been working nights for 7 years straight. And I listen to you a lot. And I really haven't heard anything like that as far as how Christians are just so against, I'm a Christian myself, and how they're so against any other existence besides God. God cannot create another, entity somewhere else. I mean, I'm not attacking y'all. I want you to understand that. You're not attacking you. Right. I want you to understand. Everybody is let me ask you this. If you remember the caller last hour who said, what if we kidnap aliens? Yeah. If the White House was threatened to be blown into little so tiny matchstick pieces like in '94, do you think the government would strap brands to the pillars of the White House? They call you the Clinton wild. He didn't want to go see my he didn't tell you. That's right. All right, sir, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And there's all these little grays strapped to the White House pillars, wiggling and waiting for the big mother saucer they know is going to come above the White House. And aliens would care about life to the degree that we did, not bomb in Iraq. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello. Hey, I'm Sharon from Eugene. How are you doing? Oh, well. I wanted to discuss the AIDS news recording that's come out recently with the supposed cure for AIDS. Not cure. Yeah, control. Only 65% of the people get some recovery, but they're devastated by the side effects. I'm the fellow who's a practitioner. We talked a couple weeks ago. Central Office. Devastated by the side effects. Well, as opposed to what? Dying? Well, actually, there are a couple of cures I'm authors. I have a couple of proven cures demonstrated by decades of testing that actually fully control AIDS without the side effects. Fully control it. So I'm the guy who's doing a clinical trial. Why are you not making those? There's a mindset, which you pointed out very clearly. There's a mindset that says, number one, alternatives have never truly been tested. That's true. Without that comprehensive testing, no one's going to put their So what is your alternative method? Well, all of these have a basic common denominator, which is basic chemical imbalance. If you restore chemical balance, all disease goes into remission. Always, 100% of the time. So what does that mean? You gotta eat chopped salad and stuff. Well, people who eat chopped salad don't get well. But there are. What do you have to eat to get well? Grains and vegetables, beans and seaweed. Little fish and seaweed, a little fruit, more salt, less liquid, works every time. More salt? The best clogged the arteries. Well, the research came out the last couple of months that says really salt's good food. Salt's a benevolent, a necessary nutrient. Right up there with you. I put everybody back on salt. Everyone responds well. Really? You have to stop in your family from the long-term chronic ailment in your family. Well, I've always enjoyed salt myself, and people warn me about it, you know. I would like to send you a copy of something that would, if you try it, your wife said it will be gone in 30 days. Send it along. I'll shoot it out. I'll look for it. Thank you. Salt's good for you. So sick of that. Junk food is bad. Junk food is good. Milk is good. Milk is bad. Butter is good. Butter is bad. Salt is good. Salt is bad. One day in the next, how is the body to know? I just think live your life. Eat the stuff you want to eat. Enjoy your life. Don't pay attention to those fools. They don't know what the hell they're talking about anyway. So, there you are. The new version of the Coach is here now available for any grocer for the iPhone. The Coach Insiders offering the ability to download the most shows so you can listen to your leisure. The new app also has live and streaming features, plus recaps, contacts, upcoming show info. Coach Insiders for Android System 4.0 and above, or iPhone. Check out our new app in the Google. Hello. Yes, I wanted to talk to you about the constitution of Roswell. Yes. The bismuth and magnesium and zinc are all in what they call the Hall table of elements. That is, they're used in Hall effect transistors and Ross meters to detect magnetic fields. And we have a standard for okay, I don't know about these. Well, I mean, there's a something device that fit into the computer of the machine to correct the magnetic field. The computer of the machine? Of the software to correct the polarity and the strength of the magnetic field. Well, that may be it. That's your synthesis about it. Okay, just put on and deposit in the micron. That's the micron that have the business after the generator on the base of the structure, and the zinc and magnesium are part of an HTP structure, which becomes. Yeah, you're over everybody's head, mine anyway. I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, Oh, yeah, you know, the case, I believe it's logical. I tried not to do that. What's the one piece you're on your book? Yes, Bill, that's me. My name's Bill, and I'm calling from Merced, California. All right, Bill. Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I'm not a man of, like speaking and whatever. I'm a man of many words. I got home from work a few days ago, and I heard an individual talking about how she listened to Roswell stories about the plane and so on you were talking about. And the radio got cut off. Oh, yes. Well, you know, one night here after before, I was listening to that. It would sound like it's off, and then it go off, and come on. I have the same thing over here. Yeah, but look, everybody needs to understand, sir. Thank you. Look, this is radio. It begins here in Little Pomona, Nevada. All right, it goes up to a sound. Then it comes back down and is received, processed, sent up on yet another satellite, which then comes down in New Jersey, where it is received and then retransmitted on a C-band satellite. Then it is received by radio stations around the country, processed, and retransmitted to you. Now, that's a pretty long chain of things that can go wrong. Not that they do frequently, but things can go wrong. And not every technical failure has the hand of Rockefeller and the Trilateral Commission behind the switch. Follow me. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art.
Yes.
His name is Ann from Southern Quakey State.
Okay, Southern California. Yes, Ann.
I just want to mention a couple of things about California. I never heard anybody mention to you about the 3.2 clay that we had right after Berkeley talked about the 3 clay.
I'm aware. Are you talking about in Baja or near Baja?
It was out near Palm Springs.
Okay.
And it was just before the 3.5 in Northern California.
Yeah, Brooklyn did pretty well, actually.
You really did. And I don't know if, I've never heard you mention about that volcano that is going off and it's throwing rocks aside the car.
Totally cool. Yeah, I've seen the photographs in New Zealand, I believe.
Yes. Yes, I saw that the other night.
Yes, it's apparently not a threat to any people, but it is magnificent.
And I just thought maybe that was part of the Pacific. Is that part of the Pacific?
Oh, yes.
So that could be what he was expecting.
Well, I don't think he said anything about a volcano in New Zealand.
Nobody talked about
He talked about a 7-quake, which did not occur during that specified time period.
Okay, I guess I'm just trying to help you out.
Well,
But I got a what if.
okay.
What if Rick and Larry at GMX can come up with something, you know, the magnetite that Berkeley talked about that's between our eyebrows?
Yes.
What if they could come up with something magnetic that could clean the sludge out of our arteries? Like it cleans the sludge out of your...
Well, I'm afraid there are a lot of people way ahead of you. Not Ruth and Larry, but my dear lady, there are a lot of people who use magnetics for exactly that purpose, biologically.
I didn't know that.
Now you do.
How do you find out about it?
I couldn't point you in any direction particularly, but I can just tell you it is being done.
Well, I'd be very interested. I'm a 66-year-old grandmother. And
So you could use a couple of magnets strapped to your ankles, huh?
Right. I wouldn't know anything if I didn't listen to you all my life. By the way, that man that called a while ago that gave you the stuff, I remember him calling you several weeks ago. I know you must have recognized his voice.
I did.
Okay.
I mean, that's all much for me. I mean, do I care if people come to Columbus? It's a beautiful town. Let them come.
No, I guess all of us are a little concerned about it.
Well, thank you. That was nonsense. I mean, it conjures up visions of people skulking about out there in the desert, crawling in fatigues with automatic weapons, closing in on me from every side. Come on. Listen, the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello. Good morning, guys. This is Local Radio Star Cal. Yo, folks. Interesting article. You get Radio World trade paper? No, sir. Okay, well, this interesting article in the July 10th edition. It said, no change in pop radio audience. No change in pop radio audience. Well, that thing is the Cubs there is a goal. And they were following the young people from the 1990s, the following people who moved to pop radio from 93 to 96. Right. And the audience, that's a lot of talk, consumer radio, and no one listening to it. Well, actually, there's no change. From 22%, let's see, it was 15% in 94, and it's 18% now of people who listen. And there's another interesting little fact played in here. It says that there are more Republicans, 18% to 28%, than Democrats, which are 12% to 19%, who listen to talk radio. That figures. You know, and then the local news service. And out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. And then some little article on maybe I'll cut it down and have to see it later on this week. Good. I got a lot for you. What is one? Okay, remember a few years back when you were still in Vegas and you watched some films at bands out in front of the hotel? Right? And you were saying, I really would like to do a movie. Somebody would ask me, right? Well, that was bad. You we're filming this band, and I was particularly interested in that. And if I have an opportunity to be a part of the crowd or something like that, during that late last scene, in Vegas, I would love it. Well, the way your show goes lately, what happens if somebody from the X-Files approach you for you to do either a voiceover or, as yourself or as a character? I've already been approached about 24 times. No? And no. Well, good. At least you're being consistent. I'm trying to be. Good morning. Take care. Look. They're easy enough to do. Number one, I don't like television. Motion pictures, that might be all right. But I don't like TV, generally. You know that. And so I turn it down, always. Occasionally, we'll do a newspaper article. Newspaper. As a matter of fact, the Review Journal in Las Vegas is going to do one here shortly. But I don't like TV. And this is my medium. I like radio. And I don't want to do anything but radio. And frankly, the people that I see doing TV, who do radio generally, look terrible, don't transfer in the mediums well. And television is so structured. It is so rehearsed. It's no fun. Radio is fun. I go on here and do what I want. I go nuts if I want to. I do sometimes. On television, everything has to be just so. It's all rehearsed, all done. And it's not fun, so I don't do it. And besides, I get 5 hours a night, and that is enough. Wildfire line, you're on the air alone. Oh, very good. Okay, this is Jim Gold from Houston. Hi, Jim. Turn your radio off, Jim. Oh, sure will. Thank you. Okay, a couple things. First off, in case you haven't heard, ID4 has brought in approximately $94 million in the first week, and that includes the me today, the next one, let's just say everybody. I'm really good at tennis last time. I was very good at I can believe it. He was supposed to work on that time. Pretty good deal. That was probably out for anyway, Okay, well, I think that was all right. And I'm looking forward to hearing Sandra on Sunday night. Yes, sir. My computer for what he has to say about the all stuff he's got all of that. Yes. So anyway, that's all I gotta say. I'm listening to your show and really enjoy it. Thanks a lot. Okay, sir. Take care. Houston, Texas. First time caller line. You're on here. Hi, I'm calling Medford, Oregon. Medford, Oregon. KOPE. Right. Thank you. All right, get into that phone and speak up. Okay, well, what I'm interested in is, I missed your show yesterday, and I was wondering, I didn't hear Linda at all on Sunday like I expected. Yes. Well, that's too bad because she was on, and we repeated it last night, so you missed it not once but twice. Yes, it is. Okay, second question is, if you're a wiretap, you know, doesn't that require at least a judge to sign off on it? Yes, but it doesn't require that they notify me of it. No, it doesn't. But what do you imagine they were telling the judge to get it done? No, we have doubled the number of legal wiretaps this year in America. I said legal. How many not sanctioned wiretaps do you think we're doing? Well, I would hope that is less. Well, yeah, right. Call me naive. You're really naive, sir. Well, I'm crazy. It's not the people that want to tap. Listen, this is your great opportunity. Say something like you said. What do you want to say? Keep out of our lives. Hi, from Edward, thank you. We'll be right back. This is the New Network. Not with Marcel moving coast to coast AM on this somewhere in time. I used to make dozens of knives selling gun shows all over the Pacific Northwest. There's only one show that I went to that I didn't hear people talk about government. At first I thought it was pretty funny. The people could be so paranoid, but after 3 years, I couldn't take it anymore. And I quit going to the show. Some of the people I met were pretty scary, right? Well, that turns me to opening paranoid line. I hereby do restricting my first-time caller line to paranoids. Anybody paranoid, truly paranoid, can call and come to my international line. You are on the air in America, in the world. Where are you calling from, please? From Schwab in Germany. The Austrian border. That's right. You can see Austria. Can you know how clear it is? From my office window. Okay, it's about 15 miles away. We're seeing terrible weather here. 2 feet of new snow in the Alps. Yeah, they had to stop and go to the phone. Oh my. Yeah, so it's really pretty bad. I'm not taking too much of your time. I'd like to discuss the idea of small-time investors, just your individual investor investing in gold or any other kind of precious metal, precious rock. Okay. It's a terrible idea. Why? Because gold, for example, needs to be stored. It costs to store. It does not provide a return on your investment. It may hedge you against inflation, but Pat Robertson has been saying for 2 years that gold is going to go to $500 an ounce, and it's done nothing but go down. And but the stock market has been going up. And when that is the case, and everything is relatively hunky-dory, that's right, gold either hangs around just below $400 or even drops. But when a hit of trouble comes along, and believe me, sir, you'll have down a road a few years, and it's a comedy.
I disagree with you completely. Even if it is, gold is an inappropriate investment for the individual investor. It's just there's so many.
It is It is inappropriate to put all of your money in, but so is any investment.
Well, that's true. If you want to have a few gold coins to carry around in your pocket to make you feel good, that's fine. But to even put more than about 5% of any individual portfolio in precious metals is just simply not a good idea.
I don't disagree with you. 5-10% somewhere in there. That's about it. Just sort of a hedge. It doesn't hurt.
Okay, well, I'm glad you agree with me. Otherwise, the conspiracy theory is not happening. And I'll tell you why.
Which one?
The Council on Foreign Relations Trilateral Commission, International Jewish Bankers Conspiracy. That one. It's not happening, and I'll tell you why. First of all, the sum total of human endeavor on the earth is so vast that it could not be controlled by 300 people. But more than that, what makes any of these people think that this committee of 300 who are ostensibly so greedy as to try to take over the world wouldn't try to screw each other in the process? They would.
I'm not a believer in that baloney. I don't, there are powerful people out there, and that is as it should be. But a great conspiracy, I think not. And if they're running things, they're doing a damn poor job of it.
Indeed, they are. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. I've never been into that Germany. You want to call us internationally? 2 feet of snow. Boy, it must be nice there. Austria within sight. The Alps. Cool. Really cool. All right, anyway, if you want to call us internationally, the way to do it is to get the AT&T operator on the line. Call her up. Say, give me that AT&T operator. When you get her, even though she's not the MCI girl, ask to call our 800 number. It's free. It will not cost you a penny from anywhere in the world. You call the AT&T USA Direct access number, or get the operator, as I said, and then dial 800-893-0903. That's 800-893-0903. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Good evening, Art.
Good evening.
Yeah, first off, I honor you for what you're doing. You seem to me like, man, that when you believe in what you're doing, stick by your guns. And I think there are a lot of us that support you out here, Art. Thank you. Looking forward to the Stan Friedman talk on Dreamland Sunday night. And keep up the excellent work. You got a fantastic show. There are a lot of people that are more than willing that listen to your radio show that want to hear the truth. And there are a lot of people out there that they don't have to listen to the truth. So otherwise, it's not worth doing, That's absolutely true.
Thank you.
Okay,
take care. Otherwise, it's not worth doing. On my paranoid line, you're on the air.
Hello, girl.
Hi. Are you paranoid? Wait a minute. Okay. Are you paranoid?
I don't know if I'm paranoid. If I were really paranoid, I wouldn't be able to understand. All I know is that my government ought to get me.
Well, you're getting close. Are they out to get you personally or just sort of
collectively? You have a huge debt up here. You have a huge interest, and what they're going to be trying to do is get everybody to basically work for the government. In other words, take all our vitality and increase taxes here and on
precious bodily fluids.
Yeah, and especially they want to make it helpless.
Yeah, no, can you imagine Americans walking around with a big ball and chain, dragging it along, through with brown surf-like things and our eyes cast in?
You guys, I think it's no different than it was back in about 1255 AD.
I know how to talk to you guys. I mean, it's coming, right?
Well, it is coming. I'll tell you what.
Enslaved.
Yeah, well, why not? Yeah, well, that's what they've got to do. They've got to enslave the people up there are listless, they're tired.
Do you know about the jams?
The camps?
Yes.
I don't know about the camps.
You don't know about the camps? They're built around.
There's no camps in Canada. Canada is a camp.
Are you in Canada?
Yes, I am.
Canada is a camp.
This is one huge institution, they're making the rules, they're making the rules more and more copious and burdensome every single day because they've got exactly the kind of lack of imagination got things here.
Where are you in Canada?
Campbell's Columbia.
Aren't you trying to give away your location?
Well, no, because, like I said, it's one huge institution, and,
Well, let me hear you say,
and they can't, I'm in Campbell's, right?
yeah, let me hear you say, get the government out of my life.
Get the government out of my life.
Oh, you're no Canadian.
Yes, I am, okay?
Okay, goodbye, sir. There was my first paranoia. I have a special paranoid line this morning. If you are a paranoia type person, a paranoid type person line, that line is for you. And of course, you have to wonder if your line is being traced. Use the Rockies, you're on the air.
This is the American Hospital Houston Radio Live.
All right.
They wanted to commend you for some time for your show last Thursday on the Notified.
Oh, yes.
It was an excellent show. As a matter of fact,
What do you think of the idea of the libertarians voting by email?
I think that every American should be able to vote by email.
You do, huh?
Oh, yes. If we could overcome the system that way, and I hope
Good Lord, sir. I mean, we're worried about vote machines with locks and all the rest of it, and you're talking about email?
yeah. I think it's a very good idea. But on that show, what was the guy's name you had on there again?
Well, now I'm not quite sure. Oh, you mean on both sides?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
Well, he mentioned something about all the three parties getting together and deciding that Dole would be the nominee, but they all knew that what's his name, Buchanan would win the popular vote in the Republican Party. I did some polling, it turned out to be against the vote about Dole. And all the Republicans that we called, most of them won for Buchanan. A lot of people were reluctant. Very few people were for about Dole. And these were hardcore Republicans. Because at first I was kind of skeptical about the whole idea, but when he said that, it made a lot of sense.
To me, Bob Dole never misses an opportunity to disappoint.
No, he's
not funny. I mean, it's really true.
I'm in the cinema, so it's funny to me.
A battle with a towering intellectual like Katie Couric, where it's the latest on gun.
Yeah, that was a big mistake.
Yes, it was a big mistake.
You feel like an older, I'm back in it.
Yeah, I know. I'm fed up with the whole.
Yeah, you feel impressed on John.
Yes, I am. I'm more about it.
All right, have a good night.
I'll take care. Bye. What's the Rockies? You're on the air. Hello.
Good morning, Art. You're in California. How you doing?
I'm fine, Gary.
Good. A couple things. First, last night a woman called up, asked what would happen if science could offer a definitive proof of the existence of God.
Yes.
Well, there's a book out on that very subject. It's called The Physics of Immortality, written by a professor at Tulane University.
Well, I've been trying to get immortals to call me, and I haven't had one that I really believe fully yet.
Well, I don't know, maybe he still works through the proof. He hasn't got all those equations down yet. But anyway, about paranoia. I'm just wondering, is the paranoia on the level of your average citizen is so high? I wonder what the paranoia level is among people who have the burden of both being on top of the information pyramid, knowing something that the guy in the street has no idea about, and having to reconcile that with
what they say publicly. There's probably masses of twitching paranoia.
I've got to say. So it's like, it sounds to me like it's going to turn into a big feedback loop. It ends up permeating everywhere, and people down below get paranoid to ask questions. The people on top get more paranoid about people on the bottom being paranoid. They just start spreading. Oh, by the way, if any of you guys are listening, show me a nation that doesn't cheat a tax collector, and I'll show you a nation of sheep.
I bet they've heard that before.
Yeah, well, it's reinforced certainly and reinforced often.
Take care. Let me go to my paranoid line here. On my paranoid line, you're on the air. Hello, this is art. Yeah, of course, you probably don't believe that, do you? Doesn't sound like art. Yeah, well, it is. Is this art, really? Yes, it really is. Either that, or I'm a replacement answering this phone, tracing your line. What have you done with art? We can't talk about that on the air. Who put this? This is 347. 347? Oh, bad number. I think, what, I just heard something. I have to go. Well, I see that line is functioning fine. Coast to Coast AM sure sounds great in the middle of the night. But you know, you don't have to be nocturnal to enjoy this amazing show. The Coast Insider is your key to a normal life. For this season of the day, you can wake up refreshed, knowing that last night's show is waiting for you with podcasting. As a member, you'll have access to our monthly live chat session with George Norrie and special guests. The Coast Insiders Club is a must-have feature for all Coast to Coast AM listeners. Visit coasttocoastam.com to sign up today. Get a new view of the world with Coast to Coast AM. Give me your perspective on where you think this is heading worldwide. Is this all leading to a one world government, a new world order in order to contain what could very well be a planetary-wide uprising? Yes, the governments are trying to respond to some people. You know, in most countries, the government is controlled by wealthy people. You see, pretty much the situation is set up to create a violent homosexual country. Now, we take you back to the past on Art Bell Somewhere in Time. Eastern Rockies are on the air. Good morning, Mr. Bell. Hello. This is Chris in Nashville. Yes, Chris. Two things for you. Number one, did you happen to watch any C-SPAN this weekend? No, you did not. No, what did I miss? You missed the alternative to holding your nose and voting for Bob Dole. Oh, no, wait a minute. No, I did watch some of it. I'm sorry. I did watch some of it, as a matter of fact. But when I watched for about an hour and a half, and it was all procedural stuff early on. You know, in the nominating process, and it was kind of boring. You know, they were just right. Well, Harry Brown's acceptance speech just converted me right straight to libertarian. He's saying everything that the Republicans said they were going to do and didn't, and all the things that need to be done. And if you get a chance, Saturday, go see ID4. It's well worth it. Gotta run. Have a good night. Good show. Thanks. See you later. Well, I'm going to have Harry Brown on the air. I said I would do that after he was standing, if he was nominated. He looked as though it was going to be. I talked to his campaign about 4 or 5 days ago. And I told him I don't want to have him now because we've had it once, you know, prior to the nominating process, and I wanted to wait until he was a nominee, and then he would be worth having on again. Indeed, he would be, and we'll have him on again soon. So if the Harry Brown headquarters people want to call me, we will schedule him on. You know, I wish I could believe that a third-party candidate really could win. Because frankly, I don't give two hoots for what we've got out there right now. But I don't believe it. I don't think Harry Brown can win. I don't think Governor Lamb can win. I don't think Little Texas can win. It may be that Colin Powell could win, but Colin Powell isn't running. As a matter of fact, he's not even really campaigning for Bob Dole. I don't blame him, frankly. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
I got a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
I was wondering, you were talking earlier about the Roswell site and how the guy gave you the direction.
Yes.
Did you ever get a chance to go out there?
No, I've been here every night. How would I go to Roswell?
Well, you said you were.
I said that the reason we weren't going to give them publicly was because we wanted to be able to look before.
Right, have you had a chance?
No, the answer is no. I've been here every night.
Sorry. I was kind of curious and everything, because my uncle
You know, used to be a copper back then when the Roswell was going on in Washington, D.C.
There will be arrangements made.
All right. I got a what if for you. Okay. What if the government or the military knows everything about the UFOs, you know, and they're holding it from Clinton? And
Not telling Clinton?
right. I mean, why would they tell me? I mean, that way, if anybody asks them.
Well, if you were the guy in charge of the cover-up of all UFO information,
Right.
and you had a choice to either tell Clinton or not, would you?
Well, I mean, no.
All right. So then we'll presume he doesn't know.
Right. Presume he doesn't know.
Okay.
And they have technology. You know, they have the technology for things, and they don't know what they can do with it. I mean, what's the point of having that?
Well, I mean, they may be using it to their own advantage. Listen, you're talking about the government. You're talking about,
Right.
You're talking about defense people who would use it, obviously, for defense purposes. Weapons, sir.
There you go, weapons. Like they don't have enough right now.
Well, they never have enough weapons. When can a government ever have enough weapons?
Especially ours.
There you are, Reagan or something like that. They really go for that. You know they do.
Yeah, I also got a comment. I love your webpage.
I love mine.
I know it. And I was wondering if you ever enter your email or you ever get a chance to.
Yes, I do. Now I've got to be selective because I get hundreds of emails, but yes, I do. All right.
Yeah, cool.
All right.
Well, hey, hopefully I'll get through again sometime.
All right. Well, keep trying. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
All right. You're on the air, coast to coast PM with Art Bell. Hi.
Good morning, Art. How are you doing?
I am fine. And where are you?
I'm calling from Canada.
Where in Canada?
North Shore of Lake Erie.
Oh, wow.
So I'm driving home and I'm listening to you
Yes.
on a Richmond, Virginia station.
You are?
Yeah, I am.
Well, you know, we're on WJR in Detroit. You're going all the way to Richmond?
Wow. Well, I'll tune it over to WJR.
Oh, you're okay. As long as you can hear us.
That's right. I'm calling in on the toll-free general line.
I see.
If I call direct, then I have to use my calling card and then it can be tricked.
Good thought. Only a true paranoid would have considered that prior to calling.
That's right. But I listened the other night about the Mars space, which was fascinating.
Yes, it was.
And then the part about the physicist with the anti-gravity materials.
That too was cool.
And you know, I've been fascinated with anti-gravity for the last couple of years. And actually, you know what? I think I've got a machine to do it.
You have an anti-gravity?
It's only on paper. It's only on paper. But I'll tell you how it works. Have you ever talked to...
Wait, no. Don't tell us you.
Okay.
One quick question for you before we're going to break through at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
If the face on the moon was sticking its tongue out on Mars, how would you interpret that?
It's sticking my tongue out at me?
Yeah, it's the face on, well, at all of us. I mean, if the face on Mars was sticking out its tongue, how would you interpret that? I'll let you think about that, and then you can tell us about anti-gravity after the news. How's that? All right. Sit right there while we trace your number. Okay. The trip back in time continues with Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM. More somewhere in time coming up. Check this out. Somewhere in time. Welcome to Talk Radio, all in all, anything you want to talk about. We do have one special line set aside for paranoid people. It is area code 702-727-1222. Every terrible thing that you can imagine that might happen when you call that line. Right. So if you can muster up the whatever to call it, we'll be talking to you if you're paranoid. I don't have to tell you what's going on in telecommunications too often. It's going nuts. And SMR is right in the middle of the revolution, and you can grab a piece of it. You see, Microtech was smart enough to get the license to SMR. 220 megahertz. Actually, I bemoan the fact, if I know the truth, that they took it from the hands, but it's a done deal long since. Nothing we can do about that. So it's a good investment opportunity. It's the kind of thing that will, in essence, supplant cellular. Well, augment cellular. It'll be about half the price. So you can imagine the commercial viability. It's already been built in New York, LA, Dallas, and Boston. And they're ready to build more. The investment is $8,700. The possible returns $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 or more, plus a yearly income for the rest of your life, and it can be part of your IRA or retirement plan. So, they will ask you a couple of questions to determine you're a qualified investor, then send you a video and a prospectus, and they'll tell you all about it. And you sit there and decide for yourself in the comfort of your own home. It's a free call. The number is 1-800-444-1049. That's 1-800-444-1049. And now, to the secrets of anti-gravity up to Canada. You're back on the air again, sir. Yes, good morning, Harry. Good morning. Well,
I'm going to take a one step back. If we want to do any useful work, what we do is we take nothing and separate it into two parts, and getting it back together is what helps us do things, like taking two chemicals.
Wait a minute, you take nothing. How can you separate nothing into two parts?
Well, for example, you take electrons at rest, you use magnets and wires, and that is not nothing. Well, we start with something that's not happening.
So I really do have something.
You're correct.
That we are separating. All right.
Okay. So so that's the basic idea here is you're taking, all right, I'm going to take a step back. If we want to go past the orbit of the Earth, we have to reach a certain velocity, right?
Escape velocity, yes.
Right, but you see, that's not right. Because I go very slowly, as long as I have the correct acceleration.
That would be true. I mean, you could slowly drift up.
As long as
you can repel gravity,
it doesn't matter what speed you're going.
No, that's right.
That's exactly right. This machine here, I just got this on paper here, but I've been doing some work with it. What it is it takes rotational acceleration. Do you know about rotational acceleration?
I do.
And what happens is you do the same thing like you do with a battery. You split the two components, right, and then it works for you. In that idea. What you do is you take the rotational acceleration and basically you convert it into a linear direction.
There you are. It doesn't matter. Why don't you build this thing?
I'm going to, but I've got enough money to do this. I
think it would be infinitely cool if you could get in a little craft and just sort of slowly go up.
Well, and that's what I plan to do.
Well, I understand. Are you coming back, or are you going to just keep going?
Well, I'd have to make it. I'm paranoid. I want air with me.
Well, I don't consider that paranoid.
Oh, okay.
All right, sir. Well, let me know when you've got the machine going.
I'll let you know.
All right, take care. On my paranoid line, because that's what I'm going to call it, my line of paranoia. You're on the air. Hello.
Am I on the paranoid line?
Yes, you are.
I am scared to death. Ever since that lady called in the other day about the bovine flatulence,
You know what?
ruining our atmosphere.
You know what? That lady, you may laugh at that lady, but I'll tell you what, that lady is dead right. I read article after article after article that says that bovine flatulence is the worst problem we've got. It is the biggest contributor to the greenhouse effect, bigger even than all the cars that are driving around out there. Cows passing gas is a very, very, very serious matter. And one can only imagine how much nature's healthy trinity it would take to straighten it out.
Well, you'll be glad to know that I've come up with a solution.
Okay.
All we have to do is set a trap and catch this guy who's pulling those cow's fingers.
Cows don't have fingers.
Weird. Huh? Oh, man, we're not going to get back under the bed and take this all out again. I'll just get going working on all the way in the center of the earth has been crapping on this through outside volcanoes.
Look, all right, volcanoes are no problem, but not nearly so serious as bovine flatulence. It is true. I know it sounds laughable, and it sounds fake, but it is not. I've read article after article saying it is the very worst problem we have. Cows let loose. Cows eat all that grass and what hay and whatever all cows eat. And it all, of course, turns into horrendous amounts of flatulence, which fill the atmosphere with greenhouse type stuff. It's true, it really is. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning. Art. Yes, good morning to you.
What if?
What if what?
What if I was the person a few months ago that called in and suggested we do what if? And that I have another suggestion on what callers can do when they call you.
I'm listening.
Okay. This is the new and updated kind of what if. Now that you're world broadcasted, why don't you have world breath? When callers can call up. So, it's very not shocking to you, but because we have a world voice now, why don't we say something to the world? You had said something a couple of weeks ago about that.
What do you begin? I mean, what would you want to say? It is true. I mean, we're broadcasting.
Well, like you have a line, like your paranoid line, where you want to say something to the world. Like,
Yes, but you've got to give us the idea here. Start out. Here's your opportunity. You know you're talking to the world, so what do you want to say?
okay, world, when I hang up, after Dr. Arbell, take a deep breath into your nose and just let it out. A good breath. Start it out, a world breath.
That's the best thing you've got to tell the world. Take a deep breath.
Yeah. Take it easy. Take a good breath.
All right. Thank you very much for the call. And I can tell it's only one step from there to the chairmanship of the UN, General Secretary of the UN. I'll be replacing Boutros. On my paranoid line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art. This is Joe. I'm in Sedona, Arizona.
Oh.
Want to talk to you about my paranoia about Secret Canyon. I don't know if you've ever been here before.
No, I have always wanted to come to Sedona.
Well, there's a local rumor amongst the ufologists that there is a secret underground government base in Secret Canyon.
Why Sedona? Now, I would like to first understand. By the way, we're glad to be on the air again, Sedona. I made a special reference when your station came on the air because Sedona is sort of the mystical, New Age capital of the entire universe. And I've always and the question is, why?
Well, if you haven't been here, the scenery is unbelievable.
It's nice at the Grand Canyon too, but it doesn't have that breadth. So what is it about Sedona?
Well, when you study history and where the Indian people lived, they would not live amongst the Red Rock, where they say all the mystical things happen. They lived on the outskirts, and the ruins are all around Sedona. And it is a mystical place. What I'm paranoid about the Secret Canyon base, underground base.
I can imagine. Nobody likes to think of nefarious things going on under their feet.
True.
What do you think they're doing down there?
I don't know, but I believe it.
Well, that's fine. I mean, but what do you think they're doing? They're not having a little tea and social time.
No, they're not. In fact, we had a guest on Dreamland, Norio. Right. And he spoke of the health generators, the extremely low frequency generators that the government may have used in Iran. The rumor here is that don't hike back in Cedar Canyon because they have these health generators.
Do Sedonites occasionally disappear?
People have it known. This is a very transient town. They have lots of transient people come for 2 months.
It's like you wouldn't even know somebody just.
Right, exactly. And lots of people living in the woods. Lots of people living in the canyons, places around here.
Well, there's something to think about. These subterranean people, they've got to eat too.
Well, no, the theory is that it's a government state.
Government people, subterranean, have got to eat.
Well, that's true. I don't know how they're getting their food. We've had rumors of...
Well, we just talked about it, sir.
About what?
The disappearing people.
Well, people have been known to come and go. We don't know. I've known several people. I've been here 3 years now.
Well, would you walk in that particular
I
area
have walked in there.
at midnight without light?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't do that?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, well, then.
Very remote wilderness, and I've heard people talk about men showing up in plain black uniform.
Oh, yes.
No badges of any country, company, you know.
Always black here, you notice that?
Yeah.
Why don't they ever wear white just to fool us?
We do have a lot of military helicopters flying here, and the rationale is that the Sedona Airport is a military refueling base.
Sure it is.
So who knows?
Yeah, that's right. And where are the big tanks? Underground, right?
Right. All right. Listen, it's great talking to you.
And to you as well, sir. Take care. And stay alert there. We'll be right back.
Coast to Coast AM sure sounds great in the middle of the night. But you know, you don't have to be nocturnal to enjoy this amazing show. The Coast Insider is your key to a normal life. For 15 shows a day, you can wake up refreshed, knowing that last night's show is waiting for you with podcasting. Listen on your way to work and again on the way home. Or listen to one of over 1,000 archived shows from the past 3 years. As a member, you'll have access to our monthly live chat sessions with George Norrie and special guests. The Coast Insiders Club is a must-have feature for all Coast to Coast AM listeners. Visit coasttocoastam.com to sign up today. You'll sleep like a baby, or you'll never miss your favorite guests and topics ever again. Remember, a 1-year subscription comes out to only 15 cents a day. Sign up today at coasttocoastam.com. You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from July 9th, 1996.
All right, now here's some interesting facts. Art, I chose to fax rather than call because I know your phone is tapped as well as my own. Please try to decode this cry for help. The mouse is in the trap, the spider in the web. That's all I can say for now. I know you will try to help in turn, helping yourself. Please notify the proper authorities and be extremely cautious of imposters. Don't try to contact me. I will contact you. Then we've got this. Art, just because someone is paranoid does not necessarily mean that they are not out to get you. Frank in Marysville. And there's Art, talk about paranoid. I met a friend in line at the grocery store. He had just seen Independence Day. He was sure that an elite inside government was selling the rest of us out to the aliens for technology and their own independence. He thinks HAARP is going to be used to put all sleep and orders on UFOs. He wanted to know how to fight back. I pointed out that it would be like Germany at the end of World War II. Do I want to surrender to the Greys or the Blues? He got upset and insisted there must be a way to know who was who. I know he is a fan of yours, so I said just wait for marching orders from Art Bell. Think about it. Art's underground army of the right acting under the cloak of darkness with trained chupacabras. Wait for my signal. Don't do anything until you get my signal, sir. First time caller line, you're on the air. That's my paranoid line, actually.
Yeah. You know what I'm paranoid about, Art?
Who?
The police.
Well, do you think they're after you?
It's not just me. I think they're after
Everybody?
everybody.
People doing things like making right-hand turns when they shouldn't, going through red lights.
Let me put it this way.
They are. They're after every last one of them.
Indeed, I mean, trying to collect the driving tax. I don't know what they call them, moving violations. They're more like driving tax. I put it more like this, though. Here's a group of men and women who I'm uniformed, who I believe I'm forced to tacitly endow with this power, this ability to control me.
You absolutely are. Or they will restrain you, handcuff you, and put you behind bars.
Yes, I pay for their existence. You get every paycheck.
You do.
And
And you see, I have a different view of this, though. My view is that we pay good tax money to people like that to protect us against people like you.
you see, there's the thing. I pay, and I don't have the ability to hire or evaluate performance. I just sit there and watch. For instance,
And be a victim.
indeed, I had a friend who had only had one moving violation,
One moving violation.
but wrote a letter to the editor to our local paper. Our local paper requires that you put the first and last name or else they won't print it.
Sure.
Unfortunately,
So he put his name on there, and then the police came and killed him.
the boy let fly. He wasn't saying let's have a
Okay, so what did they do to him?
for this in 2 weeks for moving violations.
For moving violations.
It's in 2 weeks.
Were these not proper violations? I mean, had he done nothing?
Oh, he's just going about his way. Like I said, you only have one moving violation.
But after he wrote the letter to the editor, he had four.
Oh, he said they were, he was absolutely positive.
Well, would you write a letter to the editor and sign your real name to Bob? Complaining about the police?
Well, of course not.
Well, then you belong on this side. I understand. Thank you very much for the call. Please, it is true we pay them. But if you're not doing anything, of course you wouldn't understand that because you're permanent. But generally, if you're not doing anything wrong, then they are there to protect you, and that would be the proper way to think about it. Not that they are there to get you. But on the other hand, if you write, well, you know, I mean, there are certain things you can do in life that you can expect to bring certain consequences. Like if you have a bumper sticker that says "cops suck," the likelihood or percentage of likelihood that you're going to get pulled over is going to be significantly higher than the guy who doesn't have that bumper sticker. You know, as one says, we support police or something like that. I don't know if that makes you less likely. It'd be interesting. It'd make an interesting study, wouldn't it? A pro and anti-police bumper sticker card driven around for a year. How many moving violations each vehicle got? Identical vehicles, nearly identical drivers, simply different bumper stickers. You said, Ron, these are on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art, Steve from South Dakota.
Yes, sir.
Well, I've been trying to get into you since the middle of the show last night with Stan McDaniel.
My goodness.
What a wonderful show.
Glad you enjoyed it.
I have a copy of the McDaniel report.
Yes.
And it's 173 pages where science really does test the hypothesis.
Right.
I was interested to read about the report, in the report about the absence of, SETI's role in the whole investigation.
Yes.
And in it, it says that, SETI is more or less putting straight on the validity of these landforms in, 3 ways. Number one, the MARS messages are radio signals, which, SETI usually uses for, verification.
Well, that's the only thing SETI's doing, sir. They're looking with radio telescopes.
Yeah, right. And number two, they're not from deep space, which they usually look. They always look into deep space.
You know what? September 1st, I'm going to have Dr. Stephen Greer, founder and director of the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, CSETI.
Oh, really? Oh, wow, that'd be great. And third,
in the report, it says they're not in the form, Mars landforms aren't in the form of, structures that embody architectural and symbolic values, not ordinarily in the purview of physics and mainly in astronomy, and it sort of baffles me because, both SETI and the Mars mission are sort of studying different areas of the same subject.
Well, they are. It's true. And one of these days, I think we will get a signal. I wonder what would happen if the SETI people got a signal that basically said, nice talking to you. Call us back when you grow up. You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from July 9th, 1996.
What? Got a yacht for 205 grand to expect in my pocket. I can't get it out.
Really? Well, it will slowly begin to irradiate your leg until it falls off.
Very well.
All right? In the meantime, enjoy whatever you've got it set up. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Yes, Art.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I have a couple things to say to you about the comment you made. Yes, this is Chris in Laramie, Wyoming. All right. Laramie? Yes, just barely east of the Rockies. A couple things I had to say was, you made a comment last hour about third parties, Libertarian Party specifically.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Well, I'm a member of the LP. Have been for about 2 years now.
Okay.
And my point was, you said that you don't think third parties can win, et cetera, and so on.
And so on.
Exactly. My point was, there's a lot of people out there with that attitude that think that since third parties can't win, they won't vote for them. So third parties don't win.
That is the truth.
So people won't vote for them.
That is the reality.
It's a vicious circle, and it keeps going and going.
It is, and it will continue, and saying it ain't going to change.
That's true. The second thing I want to say real quick is I have the LP presidential debates on tape, and if you'd like to see them, I can turn them off to whatever address you have.
Well, I have an address.
You do?
Yes.
Well, that's good.
Do you want it?
Certainly.
Post office box 4755.
4755.
Pahrump, P-A-H-R-U-M-P.
Okay.
In line, that was a good sign. Nevada, zip code 89041. -4755. Now, I watched for a long time, but then, it was all bureaucratic. Yeah, and then I finally got tired. I sleep during the day. I do that. Stand right through the show. And I finally fell asleep, and this is a good part.
Mm-hmm. The thrust and Louise were very entertaining, and I think Rick Tompkins probably saved the party from another fairly embarrassing split. So,
well, I would love to see it. So, really, if you do have a copy, I'd be thankful.
what was the post office box again? I'm sorry, I missed the first time. Oh boy.
4755.
4755. Gotcha. All right. Thank
Thank you, and I look forward to that. Yes, I wanted to see that. I sat there, and it was sort of a little interesting, but, it's kind of, would the people in the front all move toward the back, please? And, that kind of thing. And fill out forms, and we're handing out these forms, and you can only watch that so long. So I missed the good part. Wild card line, you're on the air.
Charlie, liberal in California. Let me tell you something. A, I don't think you're the Antichrist. I want you to know that right off the bat. And B, all these alien nuts out there, let me just tell you something. If I were an alien, and I'm serious, if I were an alien, those Earth is the last place that's real high you want to settle. If you got some highly developed, well, semi-highly developed primate dominating a middle-aged star that lacks a lot of the natural minerals that it had just a few million years ago.
Well, yes, it may be that compared to other planets, we are still mineral rich, particularly deep down.
We're mineral rich, but why would you want to deal with a planet that has a somewhat advanced technology and nuclear weapons? They can probably easily defeat us. We can ruin the planet. Why would you want to deal with that when you can deal with a relatively
Charlie, we eat cows, right?
That's true.
So, why do you think that an alien would not necessarily think of us as a cow?
Actually, you have a reasonable point there. I know a lot of the religious people might not like that, but what you're saying in that sense is true, and that humans may not, even though we are the highest life form on the planet right now, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're a very high life form.
To a fully evolved life form, we might be as the ants are to us.
That's true. I would argue that point. Let me say, as far as poor Bob Dole is concerned, isn't it just too bad that Colin Powell has seen the light, that Colin Powell realizes that the only place for him to go is the Democratic Party.
That's hogwash. He already said he voted for Bob Dole. Where are you coming from?
All I'm saying is that, well, he has to vote for Bob Dole. He's already said that he's not going to campaign with this guy. He's not going to have any big speech at the Republican National Convention. Let's face it here. He supports affirmative action, and he supports abortion rights. And if he comes to the Democratic Party, we will welcome him and all Republicans who support those things with open arms.
Look, whatever Colin Powell is, he's smart enough not to go to your party.
Well, I think Colin Powell will wake up and see the light, as many moderates and Republicans have.
Yeah, what are you talking about? It has been conversion after conversion after conversion. It's been from the Democrats to the Republicans. Where have you been?
Well, you're talking about politicians. I'm not talking about politics. Politics are always rolling around in the mud.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. You're talking about Clinton. You're talking about Dole. You're talking about Powell, and you say you're not talking about politicians. I'm talking about who you on the little line.
Powell, fortunately, is not a quote-unquote politician. I think that's what makes him popular. But I'm talking about people like Powell who have changed, who have taken a look at this Republican Party led by Newt Gingrich and said, you know what, we are going to switch to the Democrats or move to the left because we realize that they support the working class Americans. They support this, basically support the government and the country that the Republicans basically voted here.
But surely there has been so damn much attrition with the Democrats lately. You're lucky you've got even a minimal vote you can muster in the House anymore.
Hey, the Republicans right now are no longer concerned about whether they're going to win the presidency or not. They're worried about whether they're going to keep control of Congress.
Well, you are right about that. Thanks, Charles. He's right about that. The campaign right now is going so poorly. I mean, I couldn't script it to go any more poorly for Bob Dole. The latest today is that Bob Dole will now no longer seek to reverse the assault weapons ban. He's given up on it. So there you are. And he weekly says, well, a bunch of those guns are now available anyway. So he will not attempt to reverse that ban. You know, by the time they're done, that is, Bill Clinton stealing what few ideas Bob Dole has had, and Bob Dole compromising toward the left. There's going to be absolutely no difference whatsoever between those two guys except their age. That's going to be all that's left.
The new version of the Coast to Coast AM app is here, now available for Android as well as iPhone. For Coast Insiders, it offers the ability to download the most recent shows so you can listen to them at your leisure. The new app also has listen live and streaming features, plus recaps, contacts, and upcoming show info. Coast Insiders with Android System 4.0 and above, or iPhone. Check out our new app at the Google Play or iTunes stores, or link from the Coast website. Get a new view of the world with Coast to Coast AM.
First of all, I want to just thank you for bringing those out to the cornucopia, this phenomenal knowledge. I don't know of anyone else that's ever listened to this radio that gives fiddles my brain and, I was listening to the show and I thought to myself, do you think, George, that common citizens such as you or I really has any hope for the future or any projects or anything else?
I think we do. I think eventually so many people will see the light, see what you see what I see. And eventually they're going to say enough is enough. And I think that we do have a future and we're going to win in the long run. It's going to be bumpy along the way. It's not going to be easy. We'll get it. That's my take. And you know what? As long as I can continue on the airwaves and tell people this, I shall.
You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from July 9th, 1996.
What's it a lot easier on the air? Hi.
Hi, I'm on the air.
Well, possibly. What do you want to say?
I would like to ask you a question that morning, and to begin with, I'm surprised. My name is Lydia, and I would like to ask you a question if this is an open forum tonight.
Yes, it is, Lydia.
Thank you. If there is anybody of your listeners, or maybe you know somebody that deals in the generation of the retina.
In what?
The generation of the retina or macula. It's an eye problem.
An eye problem.
Right.
Oh, retina. Is that what you said?
Retina. Right. I'm sorry, I probably don't pronounce it.
Where are you from?
I'm from Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Yes. I've been in the United States for the last 27 years. I'm American citizen, and I lived in South America also for about 10 years.
No, I'm going to visit Russia next month.
I heard you on the radio, right? Right. My son was in Ukraine, in Kiev. He was for 4 years, since 1990.
So you wanted to ask about a retina problem?
Right. I have lost my central vision. I am legally blind now. I lost my central vision, and I really haven't seen a doctor in the last probably 4 years. I can't because I belong to an 82 home, and they put me on disability, and I'm on Medicare because there's no other way to do it.
Well, I'm not a doctor, so
I know, but I'm sort of, through you, I'm trying to roast maybe somebody of your listeners, an ophthalmologist, or anybody that has that problem. I know there are a lot of people that have this problem.
Well, maybe somebody will have something to say, Lydia. We'll see.
Okay, now if you want to talk about Russia, why don't you put me on the other line? Or whatever line you have. I'm sure you have a lot of people that want to give you advice.
About Russia? Right, most people are telling me don't go. They think the American CIA is going to have the KGB kill me at Moscow Street.
Oh, no.
Well, that's what they're saying.
Please do go and look for yourself.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yes, and I certainly hope you have a good time, and I'm sure you'll make a choice, and your wife will come also.
She will. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care. Yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy it too. You betcha. No guarantees in life, right? Ever. So you just go ahead. You continue with life. Either that or you huddle down in a bunker somewhere and you worry about everything. Like the people on my paranoid line here. See what? Paranoid line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Art?
Okay. Are you paranoid?
Well, yeah, I am.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, I'm calling from New Orleans.
And I've got good reason to be there.
Yeah, a lot of spirits in this town.
Do you know that New Orleans may be one of the most dangerous cities of Nevada, where I am now?
Mm-hmm.
The most dangerous city in the whole union. That's right.
That's unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah, it seems like there's all kinds of space in Nevada, you know. But anyway, what I was going to call you about was, in the beginning of June, I called you about, I saw an explosion in the sky.
I have a point of order here.
A jet airplane.
Well, this is
The point of order I'm talking about is what happened in the Pensacola incident, right? Where those two
You
people.
mean when Pensacola was destroyed?
No, come on. This is not a joke.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what happened over the weekend.
What happened? Tell me.
There was an engine, a jet engine exploded and two people were killed.
Oh, yeah, I know all about that. Yes, Delta Airlines.
Right. Well, yeah. I had called you previously in the beginning of June, and I told you that I saw an explosion over the skies of New Orleans. And but the plane didn't explode. It's just the right jet engine exploded in the rear section. It was a Pratt & Whitney.
Was it over in New Orleans?
Right, but it was over. The plane was taking off going.
You know what? I remember that call. I remember your call.
Right, you had gestured. Just think about the people in the tail section. They must have been scared to death.
Yeah.
And you know, this happened Memorial weekend, right? And now two people have died from something. The plane that took off was either a Delta plane or an American plane because they have the same colors. And
there was a TWA aircraft with a lesser problem, but Delta is the one that.
I'm talking about the colors on the side of the plane, though. Delta and American have similar colors.
But forget the colors. It's Delta, DELTA Delta.
Right, I know that or something. But the thing that I saw, the engine that I saw was a Pratt & Whitney engine that blew up. But it didn't. You see, it shot the street. It didn't go towards the cab section. It shot out over a residential area.
All right, we're giving you an A+ then on your prediction. So the next time you have one, you need to call us immediately.
Well, Art, yeah, a great show. I love every minute of it.
All right.
I never get in that much, so
Well, you're in now. It's very hard to manage the paranoid line.
bye.
All right, bye. We're restricting that line just to paranoids. Alcott line, you're on the air. Hello.
Art?
Yes.
Oh, hi. Mike Milwaukee listening to you on WCOJ.
Yes, Mike, you're going to have to speak up and loud.
This well, okay. I wanted to thank you, first of all, for replaying the dance and Linda Howell.
Yes.
It was quite frightening.
Well, it is interesting. Linda and I had a very long conversation today about it all.
Yeah, some of the listeners are talking about what Tom Brokaw was talking about last night on the NBC Nightly News.
And that was.
Area 51.
And what did he say about Area 51?
Well, he talked about, according to lights in the sky, but even more so than that, they were talking about chemicals or some steam being released.
There's a big lawsuit about that. I know all about that.
Okay, all right. Another thing, it was also mentioned in Independence Day 4, probably the best part of the movie.
referred to Area 51 and Roswell as well.
Right. But as far as, was it Vegas about as close as you can get to a theater?
For the moment, yes, that is true. That's about 120 mile round trip, so.
Well, I wouldn't make a trip.
Oh, now, is that a movie review?
It was okay. It was an okay movie, but, I don't know. I wouldn't drive 120 miles hours to see it.
Well, I might not either. As long as I know the lines are very long, the weather is hot, my temper is short. And so, I haven't made the trip yet. You know, but the time will come, I'll be in town for some reason or another, and I'll go see it. Or next month, when I go to Europe, they will show it in the aircraft. There you go. Now, would that be a cool place to watch ID4 at about 50,000 feet? Thank you very much for the call, sir.
Okay.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Well, this is west of the Rockies.
Yes, it is.
Okay, this is Edmond, California.
England, California. Where is that?
That's sort of between Glendale and San Fernando Valley.
Probably listening to KABC.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, a couple of things. First, you once mentioned that you got Ray Dream, Radio Talk Host back on the air, talking on the radio again.
I did. Shortly after I came on KABC, which has now been quite a while, I said on the air, I wanted to talk to Ray. I'd love to talk to him, interview him. And by gosh, we did it. He came on and we did a couple hours, I think.
Yeah. Well, if I just recommend a guest if you get him, there was a gentleman a few years ago also on KBC, Bill Jenkins. Have you ever heard of him?
Yes, I've heard the name.
Yeah, he had a show called Open Mind, sort of like a mini version of Dreamland.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and he talked about various things, UFOs, and so forth. It's quite a bit. So, I don't know what's happened to him in the years, but he retired from KABC and so on. But I gotta ask you about the Chupacabra.
Chupacabra, very good.
Chupacabra, that's what I got. Are there lady Chupacabras?
Well, yes, of course there are. How could there not be?
Well, who knows? There's a Chupacabra sexual age or something.
Demons. Maybe I should have you on as a guest. All right, well, go away. I have some news.
Okay.
See you later. You're listening to the CBC Radio Network. This is my feed. Life goes on.
This is good for your network. That was Arpello in Billsville, AM. On this, somewhere in time.
Let's sit down, government.
You're listening to Arpello, somewhere in time. Nice featuring Talk Show AM on July 1996.
Anybody remember Steve Wicks dancing in the video of this thing? He's just so cute. He's been Rockies, you're on the air.
Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Yeah, I was wondering regarding two questions for you.
Okay.
Manhattan Project,
Yes.
anything like that?
Well, quite a bit about it, yes. The project to develop the atomic bomb is
Friends on the cloaking device?
a cooking device.
Yeah, my friend did something on Germany, but he just what is the cloaking device? Is that something you may answer? Is that just like an exaggeration of what the government's
Well, a cooking device is very simply
A device used when you wish to make your shift invisible.
I heard someone landed disappeared for 2 seconds and reappeared. So,
Well, it's Klingon technology.
Star Trek.
Well, yes.
Oh, there you go.
Cloaking device Klingons, don't you remember? Did you watch Star Trek?
I'm not sure if you have like that.
Well, that's a cloaking device.
No, I don't know the question.
Sure.
You know anything regarding Loch Ness Monster? I've been studying this ever 18 times studying the first 6 years old.
It's funny you should mention that. I had a guest on Rewind Sunday and talked about Nessie. And there have been a number of projects looking for Nessie, and they have all that's right, and they have all found something gigantic down there, chasing fish at a very deep level.
Didn't realize what it was, man. But I don't think it's animal.
Nessie.
Because, I know, but what do you think it is? We're here in Portland. Some people think it's a petroleum mushroom. Some people think it's getting sea life.
Well, I think very probably it's something prehistoric.
Yeah, I think prehistoric.
Sure.
You on your website? Regarding Loch Ness?
No, but I bet if you go up there and do a search with a browser, you'll find something.
All right, thanks.
You are right. If there's any, if there's any photographs up there, pass them along. I would even like to see some of what they found. That would be very interesting. It's entirely possible that there are prehistoric creatures that are left, that have survived, that have somehow at deep water levels managed to avoid whatever Holocaust killed them all. And there are remnants of them still here on Earth. Sure, it could be. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Yeah, this is Kevin from Pulaski, Tennessee.
Pulaski, Tennessee.
Pulaski, Tennessee.
Where is that?
It's south of Nashville, 70 miles south of Nashville.
Okay.
I got a little cat story to tell you here. It's not really a story, but at my house I've got 39 cats.
39 cats.
39 cats.
You belong on that. You should be on the paranoid line, not here. Yeah, 39 cats and 7 dogs. That's impossible.
Well, that's how many I have, and it takes about $40 worth of food a week to feed them.
How did you end up with that many cats?
Have babies and babies and babies.
Well, that's your own fault.
I reckon it is, but they're wild. You can't catch them. So just people don't have babies, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. These wild cats, they're amazing.
It's hard to catch them. We tried to catch them. And my dad has it.
Not good, they bite you.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I wanted to say. You have a great night.
Well, thank you. I still have the scars here. They're starting to fade now. I still have the scars. I went out there a little while ago during the break and I was petting my cat. And he hissed at me once. And I put my hand right up there by his mouth and he bit me. Not hard. You know, this time it was just sort of I'm testing human skin type bite. Like that, you know. Testing consistency. Determining tensile strength. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hi, Mark. How you doing?
Okay.
You know, you said you very successful. You know what the message we're going to use to me?
What?
Turn off your radio.
Turn off your radio, yeah.
What do you think of you, Mark?
Well, on that subject, I don't have one.
Okay, what if we cannot give the last name?
Why don't we give them?
Mm-hmm.
Because if something was said that would lead to litigation, you know, court problems, it would not be so serious if there had not been the last time. You know, a lot of Johns out there, a lot of Toms out there. You understand?
I understand. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Goodbye. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Mark.
Yes.
This is Greg in Dallas.
Hi, Greg.
I want to say, love the show. I happen to be here with a couple other guys here at AudioNet.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, we're calling from the office here.
You're actually at AudioNet. Tell everybody, look, not everybody understands what AudioNet is. Tell them what it is.
Okay, what AudioNet is, we're basically a broadcast network that broadcasts radio stations, sporting events like we did the All-Star game last night.
Right.
Over the World Wide Web.
That's right. And people can go get
the little program and go up on the internet and listen to this program either live or archived, or as a matter of fact, you can go back and listen to 2 weeks of programs.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah, just, reason we're calling is, want to let you know that, you are the man on AudioNet. You get, seriously, in a week's time, you get more hits than anything or anyone else on AudioNet.
Is that so?
Absolutely.
How many do we get? Do you know?
You, just up from, I'm the statistician here, and, you get roughly about, 10,000 listeners a week.
Holy mackerel.
And that's pretty good for a brand new medium, I think.
It is. It's young and growing. As a matter of fact, I had a phone call from in Germany near Austria listening a little while ago.
Yeah, we heard him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we listen to you every night.
It is very cool. As a matter of fact, you know what I ought to do? I should open a line one night for people listening to AudioNet.
That'd be great.
Would you like that?
Yeah, we'd love that.
Okay.
That is, well, it helps us all out, you know, help you out, see where people on the internet are at, and help us out with, you know, seeing where people are listening to us as well.
I tell you what, I'll do it tomorrow night.
Hey, great.
How's that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Assuming the world does not explode.
Well, yeah, hopefully it won't.
I kind of like talk radio when it just drifts, when there's no really heavy news that we have to talk about, when we can just have fun.
Yeah. I agree. Well, the world's a lot better when there's not all the heavy stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, just wanted to call and say hi and keep up the great work.
Well, please say hi to everybody at AudioNet for me and thank them.
Will do, Art.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye. You know, we take a lot of hits on the webpage. In fact, I was talking to Keith earlier, and this will amaze you. My website, www.rfl.com, takes, I think it was in May it took 1.8 million hits. 1.8 million hits. Can you imagine that? And it varies around 1.4, 1.5, 1.7, 1.8. Somewhere in there, million hits a month. That's a lot of people. Rest of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Marcel.
Yes.
This is Bob out in San Diego.
Sounds like you're in a truck.
Yes, I am. I'm driving from the Los Angeles Times. I'm delivering papers to San Diego tonight. All right. I'm on the way back and listening to you. And I just wanted to say I saw ID4 today. And that was a fabulous movie. It was just so cool. You talk about the quickening, that was it, you know. I think the only safe place to do is the underground or something like that happened. But really enjoyed your show, and just wanted to say hello to all the ever-fellow suckers out there, and keep up the good work.
Wait a minute, what's the headline in the LA Times this morning?
What's the headline?
Yeah.
Headline tonight? God, I don't even know. I just learned 8,000 of them. That's pretty sad, isn't it?
Yeah, you didn't look at the headline.
I didn't even look at the headline.
All right, well, thanks for the call.
Okay, take care.
Yes, see you later. Delivered 8,000 of them and doesn't know what the headline is. Oh, well, first time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
Enjoy the program.
Thank you.
Talked to you many years ago when you were in the station out of Fresno in 1986. Anyway, this format, first time caller. I'm organized in the sense that a very good friend of mine who is a stable, down to earth former pilot confided something to me not long ago, which really got my attention.
Yes.
And that he lives not too far from where you are. And that was many years ago in Independence, Missouri, or Harry Truman's hometown.
Right.
He was in a parking lot getting out of a low-slung car of some kind. And he as he grabbed the roof of the car, stood up, and looked up. There was this craft above the parking lot. A huge thing. And what was significant about it, as he told the story, was time seemed to be suspended to the way. And it was not just the fact that it was pretty clear in his memory, but the craft was
like many of the crafts that have been described in your program before. And there was a figure that he was able to remember looking at it. But as the craft went away silently, it was the same phenomenon. The time was suspended in some way. It wasn't just the fact that it was silent and moved away quickly. That time itself was, the dimension of time somehow was altered. And the other unusual thing was, it happened in the space of, he estimates, 15, 20 seconds. There was another individual about 30 seconds.
Well, how could he know that if time was?
Well, he was saying that what seemed to be 15 or 20 seconds. The movement of the craft was very unusual because it was there, then it would seem to be half a mile away, he wasn't blinking his eyes. And he's used to, obviously, being a pilot, he was used to movements of craft. It wasn't like it wasn't from point A to point B. It was at point A and suddenly it was at point B. And the other thing that was unusual in the story, at the end of all this, there was another gentleman about 30, 40 feet away, standing by the car. And he kind of, he said, did you see that? And the person sincerely did not see it.
Probably said something like, no, and you didn't see it either.
No, he looked, basically just the guy seemed like he didn't see it. But anyway, this is like the second person he told the story to. I've known the fellow for years. And he tells the story now, and quite sincerely, he still doesn't know what to make of it. So,
well, I saw something too, and to this day, sir, I don't know what to make of it. I just know what I saw. Wasn't far away. Was not a distant light. Was close up. Real close. Very real. And I don't know what to make of it to this day. And I suspect I never will.
Somewhere in Time with Art Bell continues, courtesy of Revere Networks.
Western Rockies, you're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Bell. Hello, this is Dick calling from Coconut Country.
Yes, Dick.
Listen, I want to commend you for having a guest on here, Mr. Collier.
That's who it was, of course.
Yeah, the votes trial.
Yes, on the votes game.
I went and called Chancellor Broadcast in order to do three takes today.
Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Bell, what I'd like to ask you, do you ever consider having Gene Duffy on, the lady that directed that video film, Obstruction of Justice, the Media Connection?
Oh, I suppose I could, but it's kind of more of the same, isn't it?
No, it isn't. Oh, no, absolutely not. This is Mr. Putnam out here in California had that lady on work. Yes. Oh my God! I mean, the stuff that she reveals on that, on the video. I got video film. Why did she say Clinton's a killer? No, she didn't say Clinton's a killer. But, a lot of she say Clinton's a drug dealer. No, she says a lot of these people that were hooked up with him there in Arkansas. One of the chief prosecutors was involved in the murder of the two boys on the railroad tracks. They've got proof of that. She told Clinton. Well, not to Clinton, but to these people in his cabinet that were in his cabinet. He had all his cronies back there. But I think that the people would enjoy listening to Linda, her name is Linda, Gene Duffy, I'm sorry, Gene Duffy. I think that you listeners would really respond to that, Art.
Why? To me, these things have got to either be connected to Clinton, or they just don't have the meaning that you think they have, or that people think they have.
Now, she was a prosecutor back there in Arkansas State, and she actually got driven, her and her husband and children got driven out of there. They put a price on her and they were going to kill her. And she ended up in Texas because she was in the Army in Texas.
This must have been a private price on her head. I mean, you can do that publicly.
Well,
right?
This is what
they didn't post it in a post office or anything, right?
I beg pardon?
They didn't put it in the post office, put it on her head, right?
No, but she was told by some police officials that she best get out of Arkansas.
Well, they're telling me I better get out of corrupt, Well, them, the people on my paranoid line. The people in Paxton. All right, thank you very much for the call. As a matter of fact, here's another one. Art?
I know that you are out to get me. Leave me alone. Son Shane. Okay, that's what Shane. Dear Art, I've got a friend who's trying to get the gas station to take out the microphone from his car radiator and the TV repair shop to remove the government camera from his TV. I believe him when he says he is not paranoid. After all, it was his radio that told him about the problem that he is having. Desert Dan. Well, let's go back to the paranoid line. You're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art. Hi. How you doing today?
I'm fine.
Art, I'm paranoid.
What?
I read in the paper today
Yes.
that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms is compiling a government database on the ownership of firearms in the United States.
Well, they've been doing that for a long time. You know, they've had records from people who have a license to sell firearms, and they've always held those records in ever-growing boxes. And now they're simply going to put those on computers, so they have reference to it.
Well, I've got to tell you, I'm paranoid because in every case in history, registration follows what was followed with confiscation.
Well, I don't think they're going to confiscate guns. Myself.
Well,
What would you do? But that's because you're paranoid. I mean, what would you do if they knocked on your door? Why aren't your guns? You're gonna have to give us your guns.
I don't know. What the bullet between us?
You'd shoot at them?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's my constitutional right, though.
I mean, guns with jackets that say FBI and ATF on it, you'd shoot at them.
Well, you know, it's a constitutional right of mine, and it's underprotected, I think.
So you would shoot instead of give up and take the guns.
Probably.
What do you think would happen?
I'd probably go to federal prison. It's not.
More likely you'd be dead. I mean, they would shoot back with it.
Well, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, it depends. I mean,
Usually when you shoot at
rare surprise.
when you shoot at them, a lot of times they shoot back.
That's true.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. It was proper that you are on that line. A lot of people think their guns are going to be confiscated. I'm not one of those people. West of the Rockies, or on the
Good morning, Art. Good morning from Grand Junction, Colorado.
Yes, sir.
I was listening to you on KNCZ, but they blew a tube or something, so I had to switch to KOP in Albuquerque.
They blew a tube.
It sounds like it. It sounds like they've been having trouble with their stuff for a couple days now. But
It's what I've been trying to tell people. You know, there's a long chain of electronics that has to work perfectly for you to receive the signal.
exactly.
And somehow everybody assumes that when something goes wrong, it's always a trilateral commission.
I hardly think so. I was in radio for a number of years, just like yourself there, Art. And I understand all these things too, but what's it like to talk to millions of people every night? What are you on, 277 stations now?
Yeah. It's better not to think about. It's neat, it's fun, but it's better not to think about, because if you think about it, then you begin to get very nervous.
And paranoid. And you start setting up paranoid phone lines, and so people start calling in and thinking that they're just as scared as you are to be talking to 12 million people. How many people are listening right now, Art?
Well, at any given moment, probably 8 to 10 to 12 million, somewhere there. But, I really wish you wouldn't lead me through this. You're going to get me nervous, is what you're going to do.
I'm scared to death, but I gotta go back.
I mean, really, it is much better not to think about. I even have trouble. I can't tell you even what city, but there's a gigantic eastern city that's going to be coming on at the end of the month. That's as much as I have to say. Nobody can pin it down, right? A gigantic eastern city has signed a contract, and they're coming on the network beginning next month. Now, if I think about it, I will get nervous. It will be very hard for me to do my program as normal for at least one day. And then I forget, and everything's okay again. And then somebody else calls like that and starts telling me about all of the stations and people. That makes me nervous.
We'll be right back. This is Premier Network with Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast Hangout on this Somewhere in Time.
Oh, you're going to love this one. Oh, all right. Talk about paranoid. First of all, I know you won't read my facts. I'm doomed. How's that, serious? I'm doomed. Fated to be alone in my circumstances. One of a kind. Completely misunderstood, yet miserably wise. You see, I'm immortal. I stopped aging when I was 16. I'm now 26. I have the knowledge of an elder since I was a babe, but nobody will listen to me because of this immortality problem. I couldn't wrinkle if I tried. I couldn't get hit by a bus if I tried. Well, I had a bus driver here a little while ago, so I dispute that. But worst of all, I'm unable to convey all that I know because everyone looks at me as a despicable teenager. You probably are. Somebody has put me here, so unique, but so powerless. This somebody even sent me an anonymous report in the mail about my flight. The report listed my personality characteristics, others' opinions about me. They even said they'd be contacting me at some future time. So strange, don't you think? And to make my situation worse yet again, I don't sleep. Can you imagine the long life of an immortal who can't sleep? They planned this too, I'm sure. Sometimes I even hear the devil's voice talking to me during your program. Your voice becomes deep and monstrous. That's when I know. Oh, poor Art, we're both pawns in some sick scheme. I have no advice for you. But do you think any of your immortal listeners have any advice for me? Especially about the wrinkling and the sleeping problems. I'm sure the answer is no, knowing my luck. Well, I'm sure you're right, sir. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hey, Italian Stallion, Portland, Oregon.
You say so.
Hey, I got a correction. That wasn't the Klingons with the, I'm sure you got facts, but it's the Romulans.
Oh, it was the Romulans, you're right.
Yeah, anyway,
I think it was the Romulans.
yeah, it was the Romulans originally that came in, and then the Klingons.
Was it the Romulan Empire or the...
Yeah, the Romulan Empire that did have the cloak, and then the Federation stole it. Then the Klingons got a hold of it, I think.
That's
Then
right.
they made it better where you could, where you didn't have to have your shields down.
Yeah.
And they made it even better, I guess. The Klingons came out with the even more better.
More better. I knew they had it.
Yeah. But anyway, I wanted to mention Saddam Hussein, what happened to him. He's kind of faded out of the news and everything. He's getting real powerful again.
Yeah, he's building his army back again.
Yeah, and I just think that it's going to be a mess there over there in the Middle East.
You know what we really need? We need a good war between Iran and Iraq is what we really need.
Yeah, and I really believe the war is going to be all over oil. because we just haven't resorted to electric cars, and I mean, we do have them, but I think our technology needs to zoom in on it, because oil's not going to be here in the next 10. You look at the gas prices and the gas pumps.
I'm telling you right now, if I were in charge of the CIA, I would have them working on getting Iran and Iraq into another war.
Yeah, well, you can be thankful that we drive our 4-cylinders and get good gas mileage, so.
I only got 3 cylinders.
Oh, you did? Oh, that Geo, that's right. They get about 50 miles to the gallon.
At least.
Wow, that's great. Well, I can keep that car and not get a Cadillac or anything, so.
That's my plan.
Okay, take care. Have a good one.
See you later. I think that would be the ideal solution. I think they thought that at one time too. We are inevitably going to get into a conflict with Iran. The possibility that the terrorist bombing in Saudi Arabia, if it was foreign sponsored, was probably sponsored by Iran, maybe Syria. Now, if we could get Syria, Iran, and Iraq into a war, then you'd really have something going. And they would all deplete each other's resources to the point where none of them would be a threat any longer, or one would conquer the other two, and then we'd really have a problem. First time caller line, / paranoid line, you're on the air.
Thank you. I am very, very worried. I have information pertaining to.
Turn your radio down, man.
Thank you. The moon. It is.
I too have been concerned about the moon.
Well, this is far superior to your Sasquatch. This moon that we have orbiting our planet.
Yes, I've seen it.
Well, of course, and it never rotates, but now it is rotating.
It's begun to spin.
Actually, it is vibrating between attempting to spin in both directions.
Now that would be a problem. Well, I will go out and take a look, and I've got this new wonderful pair of binoculars.
No, you need at least a 16-pound telescope to see this. It moves only, it began in 1968 when they began to go looking at how they're going to land on the moon for the first time in 1969. And what occurred was they saw a 2-foot rotational, and it produced earthquakes on the moon, or moonquakes, we should say, that were equivalent to a 3-point scale. But now it is moving at 17 feet and producing 11-point earthquakes. Do you realize what that would do to Earth?
Where do you get these figures?
I can't be specific, and the reason why I'm calling you is I need to talk to somebody. But
well, I'm listening, but I mean, you've got to be able to hold some sources here. I mean,
well, I got a friend at Lefty. You know that they're making a new type of shuttle.
yes, I do.
But the shuttle is
X-33, actually.
it is, yes, and it's made to evacuate mankind from the planet.
It is not.
No, it is.
It is not. It's meant to go up and help build the space station. It's not meant for anything but relatively low Earth orbit. Who told you that anyway?
My friend that works it.
Well, then I have now lost all confidence in your friend. It's not meant to evacuate mankind from the Earth. Where does he get this kind of thing? It's meant to provide easy, reusable access to relatively low Earth orbit and to service the space station. I don't know where people get these things. Westman Rockies, you're on the air.
Yeah, Art, this is John in Illinois, California.
Yes.
I was to use this in November. My ex-wife's husband to me on your show.
Your ex-wife's husband?
Yeah. We get along great. I mean, it's still family. My son lives with him. He's about the same age as yours. But, maybe I'm at work. Maybe reason I try to get a hold of you is, your quickening. Have you ever noticed the beginning of Highlander? It has, like a screen with writing, and it mentions quickening.
I never did watch The Highlander. Everybody's told me about it, so.
Yeah, because right at the beginning, it talks about, the battle set and the quickening.
Yeah, I knew that. I mean, a lot of people have told me that.
Yeah. Anyway, great show, fabulous. And I got you back on, so I can get back to work.
All right, thank you. Good Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Oklahoma. I was thinking about that. I was ashamed about Dr. Morning Sky. I got one of his tapes and I really enjoyed it, but I thought it was something similar, like wise people getting harmed like that, and other types of people. Like they had a Japanese American or national and his 13-year-old daughter, and they were laying pretty for him and shot him in San Diego. And it was the guy that had the answer to Alzheimer's disease.
Alzheimer's,
yeah. I thought that was a shame too.
He was a brilliant researcher in that area, yes.
Yeah, and I heard another thing. There was a lady on the news talking about one time, about a couple weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, some paleontologists, they found, like, we heard about the dial. They found spam and hot dogs and everything, like way back when.
Spam?
Something like Sam or hot dogs or something that these cultures had way back years and years ago, like millions of years ago.
They found spam from millions of years ago?
Yeah, so it probably was petrified or something. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. And I'll try to set up a line for people just like you, possibly tomorrow.
Coast to Coast AM, sure it sounds great in the middle of the night, but you don't have to be nocturnal to enjoy this amazing show. The Coast Insider is your key to a normal night. For 15 shows a day, you can wake up refreshed, knowing that last night's show is waiting for you with podcasting. Listen on your way to work and again on the way home. Or listen to one of over 1,000 archive shows from the past 3 years. As a member, you'll have access to our monthly live chat sessions with George Noory and special guests. The Coast Insiders Club is a must-have feature for all Coast to Coast AM listeners. Visit coasttocoastam.com to sign up today. You'll sleep like a baby, knowing you'll never miss your favorite guests and topics ever again. Remember, a 1-year subscription comes out to only 15 cents a day. Sign up today at coasttocoastam.com.
View of the world with Coast to Coast AM. Give me your perspective on where you think this is heading worldwide. Is this all leading to a one world government, a new world order in order to contain what could very well be a planetary wide uprising?
Well, if the governments are paying on support people, in most countries, they usually control by wealthy people. You see very much a situation that's set up to create a harmful country.
You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from July 9th, 1996.
Bob Hardline, you're on the air.
Art, it's a pleasure to be speaking with you.
Welcome to the show.
One of I like about 6 radios from the Crane Company now. I'm listening to your advertisements. I can't wait for the catalog or the TV catalog.
Well, you should be getting
I can't wait for that. Sure.
It's cool, believe me.
But I wanted to ask you, I know you're disillusioned as I am, by the way this is like in Tucson. I wanted to ask you who you would like to be running. I think we both agree that a third-party candidate couldn't win. But in your mind, if you could pick a clean candidate for either party or for an independent party, who would you like to see run this race?
Well, I could think of all kinds of people. Really, I could, that I'd rather have running on the right than Bob Dole. Jack Hammond. Comes to mind. Bill Bennett comes to mind. I really could run through Sam Nunn. I think Sam Nunn would make a great president. Colin Powell, I think, would make a good president because he doesn't really want it. There's just a lot of people, I can think of people that I'd rather have running than the two guys we got running now.
Anybody on the left side, like,
You know, I mentioned Sam Nunn, yeah, and there are others, on the left, reasonable, middle, planted people who actually have an ideology that seems to settle down in one place and not move around like our current presidents. Okay, so I'm just, dissolution doesn't even do justice to the way I feel about what's going on right now.
well, I completely understand you. It's the first presidential election that I have just been discussed.
Yeah, I mean, Bob today is disappointing me. He's not, I haven't even seen a campaign for the guy yet, not what I call one.
No.
And, yesterday, he did it again. You know, with the assault weapons thing, he promised NRA was gonna try to repeal it because it's dumb. And now he's not gonna do it.
And the fact that the campaigns on either side are even addressing the tobacco issue when that's so.
Oh, yeah, now there's the most serious thing in the campaign. The most serious thing in the campaign so far. The Democrats are going to dress up idiots looking like cigarettes and send them to Bob Dole's campaign rally points.
Right.
Ooh, rough, tough stuff. See you later. Bye. This whole thing is done. If I had to spend 5 hours talking about that, I'd rather shoot myself. Okay. Really, really dumb. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Good morning. This gentleman from Real Audio mentioning that they were changing your lock speed.
No.
But because I got dropped while you were talking to the truck driver, and then when I bring it back up, graduated to 28.8.
Maybe they, do you have a 28.8 modem?
Yes,
Does it sound different?
better, much better,
It sounds better.
much better.
Well, those are cool people. Real audio is really something, and it is the future.
But I was surprised they didn't mention it, so they could have warned us that we were going to lose speed from you.
Well, maybe they wanted it to be a surprise.
It was.
Anyway, tomorrow night, we will set aside a line for people listening by computer.
Great.
How's that? Is that how you're listening now?
Yeah, because this is Sharon Avenue, Virginia.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's right. That's right.
The way I have kissed you.
Well, in that case, you've got us better now.
Yep.
All right, my dear. Thank you. See you later. Well, Western Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, Art. This is Ross from Phoenix.
Yes, sir.
Listening to you in KFI. I've got a brain teaser or something you can help me with.
Probably not. I hate those things.
Well, it's a pretty quick one. I think you might like this one. There are 3 words in the English language that end in the letters G-R-Y. 2 of the words are hungry and angry. The third word is something that we know, and we know what it is. What word is it? Hungry?
I see you stole from me the 2 that I could have gone for. I got angry right away.
The closest I thought was imagery, but that's actually G-E-R-Y, and I'm just stuck, and I don't know if there's
So are you doing a crossword puzzle?
No, this is something that's got a lot of people baffled and are not sure if it's
Maybe there is no other.
exactly. Maybe there is no other word. I don't know if you've ever heard of this question, or if any of the listeners out there might have the.
There's almost an E and everything else. Imagery. I don't know.
It's really something.
Well, I'll have the answer by fax or hook or crook, I'm sure by tomorrow.
All right, I'll be listening.
All right, take care. Maybe it's a word I can't say on the air. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hello. Going once, going twice.
Hello.
Oh, man, you just made it. Who is this?
This is Valerie.
Where are you?
Tacoma, Washington.
Tacoma. Well, glad to have you.
Good. Let's see.
What's on your perky little heart?
My particular guide is, where's my guns in the ATF.
Guns in the ATF mess?
Well, if a cop decided to find himself in your house and you're cleaning your weapons in the state of Washington,
Yes,
and you've got all these pieces spread out there,
yes.
each piece counts as a weapon.
No.
Yes.
Well, since when in Washington are you not allowed to have them in your home?
You can have them in your home, but if they are in your home and they're counting weapons, and you have
So in
your
other words,
pistol laid out and you're cleaning it,
yes.
each component will count as a weapon on their inventory.
Don't you think that'd be kind of dumb?
For little work, like.
Yeah. I mean, that's really dumb. I can't imagine ATF agents coming in and counting pieces as guns.
Well, if the state troopers are there, they're the ones that are going to be making you like that. The ATF will probably go looking for the bigger piece, for the bigger whole.
Most cops are not, even ATF, are not that ridiculous.
Some of the ones in Western Washington are that
That picky.
stands are crooked.
Have you ever had your gun out cleaning it when the ATF came in?
No, but I had a couple of friends who got in hot water on that one. Now I know.
Really?
Yes.
And so they charged them with having, what?
Let's see, it was a 16 piece. The 16 pieces scattered on the table.
So they charged them with having 16 guns.
16 guns, plus we had two that were
I find that a little hard, so that'd be total of 18, right?
Yeah. I didn't believe him at first either until he brought in another friend of his and verified it.
I really find that a little hard to believe.
Yeah,
It could be, I mean, but it's kind of like, they must have said something terrible to the agent to cause him to get that picky.
This is very popular. He's also a slightly paranoid person to begin with. So just maybe his
So you're calling my,
reaction around it.
you're calling my paranoid line on his band.
Yeah, the fact that I'm always doing like 3 in the morning.
Trade somebody's gonna knock your door down. Listen, the show's over. You get the honors. You know what the honors are to it.
Oh, good night.
No. Good night, America.
Pardon me. Good night, America.
Thank you. Good night, America.